Good Wednesday afternoon on this March 24th, 2021. And we welcome you into Sportstime. We're with you until 6 o'clock today. Dave will only be with us about 5:30 from down at the Dallas NIT in Denton, down in Dallas, in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. A lot of time spent there of late for the Tigers and the Tigers broadcast crew, and Dave on his way down there to call all the action tomorrow night, 8 o'clock game against Boise State. We'll talk a lot of Tigers today. Drew Barrett co-hosting with me, and Skylar Oliver producing our show today, and we welcome Skylar aboard, and we are glad to have him as a part of our team, aren't we, Drew? We're glad to be here on this beautiful sunshiny day. Drew, how are you?
Oh, I'm doing phenomenally well. Glad to be on this side of the glass instead of having to pull double duty. So trust me, there's nobody that's more grateful.
Triple.
Exactly. There's nobody in this world more grateful for Skylar than me. But it's a great Wednesday day. A lot of stuff to get to, and I'm sure we're going to get to all of it in the next 3 hours.
Skylar, we are grateful to have you. Glad to have you aboard. And on this day, Drew Barrett, 48 years ago, tell me what happened. Tigers in Providence in St. Louis at the Final Four on this day, March 24th, 1970. That was a big day for 10-year-old Brett, I can assure you.
I'm sure it was.
That was a big day. The year before is when I became a Tigers basketball fan. Larry Finch's junior year, Ronnie Robinson's junior year. Don Holcomb was a senior, big brawling center. Don Holcomb was a center on that team. He wasn't back for the championship team. In fact, his spot was filled in, and was filled in quite ably by a guy named Larry Keenan that next year, a junior college player. But on this day, I want to say the game tipped around 12:30, 12:45 on NBC, on Channel 5 in Memphis and in Eastern Arkansas, out of the Memphis affiliate, of course, and had the Tiger radio network on a lot of the game, but listened to some of Kurt Gowdy doing the game. It was the first year that the NCAA tournament had gone to what we now really accept as the Saturday semis and the Monday finals. Before that, they had been a Friday, Sunday thing, and I wasn't that into it the year before, except for kind of from a Tigers angle and the one of the bigger just hose jobs ever done on the Tigers that year over how to decide the Missouri Valley Conference tie that year. It was no tie. The Tigers swept Louisville during the round robin. They
you
win.
think that would take care of everything, but apparently not.
Well, especially back then, Drew.
Y'all were just making it up as you went. Y'all really knew how to screw sports up.
And the Valley really did in 72. Louisville went on to the Final Four that year. It very easily could have been back-to-back for the Memphis Tigers in the Final Four, but you were running into such a colossus, one of the all-time dynasties in the history of sport was UCLA, and they were, they had probably their second best player ever behind Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, then playing as Lou Alcindor before he converted to Islam and changed his name to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. They had Bill Walton, and I'm not so sure as a collegian Bill Walton was much, if any, behind Lou Alcindor, later Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. They were so good and had John Wooden as coach. But the Tigers, that game tipped at 12:30, 12:45 was the first game of the day. Marvin Barnes got hurt in the game. The Tigers went on and won pretty easily. Larry Finch was fantastic that day, and Ernie DiGregorio real good for Providence. They were coached by Dave Gavitt, legendary college basketball name. Then the second game was Indiana and UCLA, and UCLA dispatched the Hoosiers that day. And that was either the second or third year for Bobby Knight at Indiana, and they had a great player in Steve Downing. I don't think they still had George McGinnis. I think he had already gone to the ABA, but it set up the Monday game. And on Friday, guess what I'm going to talk about? 48 years ago tonight was the Tigers and the UCLA Bruins. But instead, we will be talking a lot of this year's tournament. And Drew, I said yesterday, we needed this, and I think we're close to resetting the sports calendar. Do you agree or disagree with that yesterday?
Oh, I definitely agree with it, because for the first time, especially, yes, we've had sports, and obviously the NFL went off without a hitch, but this seems like the first time throughout the year where the event that was supposed to take place took place, and
it got back
into our sports calendar filling out our silly brackets at the beginning of March and going all the way up to the first weekend of April through the national championship game on that Monday. So it does start to feel like it's getting back to normal now, especially with Shelby County announcing that starting next week, anybody who wants it can get it. There are no more restrictions, more age restrictions. As long as you're 16 and above, go get that needle in your arm. So it does start to feel like we are getting back to that sense of normalcy, and the March Madness NCAA tournament just helps solidify that.
It really does. And Master, 2 weeks from tomorrow will be the Masters. A week from tomorrow will be baseball. I know a lot of people, and boy, don't the anti-baseball people feel compelled to tell you how much they dislike baseball. There's a lot of sports out there that don't necessarily ring my chimes as much as others, but I don't run anybody's sport down because somebody is pretty passionate about it. Somebody really likes it, and because I don't, I don't think that it's harming them. I don't think I need to run it down. But baseball getting started, but doesn't baseball critics, baseball haters, don't they love to tell you how much they hate it?
They really do, and even just the not even just the critics that we see in the media, but just normal everyday people. I have friends who every time I try to bring up baseball, they say they despise it. They won't seem to watch it, and I'm like you. I'm never going to put you down because you like that. I'm not a very big. I can't say I've ever watched a single NASCAR race from start to finish, but I have an aunt who has more Jeff Gordon memorabilia than I have Orioles, Ravens, and Memphis Tigers combined.
Right.
She lives for Sundays and NASCAR, and that's
her business.
That's her prerogative.
Yeah.
If she wants to do that, that's what she loves, then more power to her. So I just don't understand the point of baseball's dumb and you like it, so that makes you dumb.
Oh, boy, they do feel the need to tell it, but I think we need baseball for that re-kilter, that reset, and it looks like, with baseball, it's always a little bit fragile, that it might start. Now, I didn't catch the background to this today, and I want people to. You can follow Drew on Twitter, and I'm trying to get to your Twitter handle now. Help me with it.
At dbarrett36.
At dbarrett36, you can follow Drew there. I'm at Brett Norsworthy. Skylar, if you got a Twitter handle you want to throw out, you can anytime you like. You got one? Throw it out there.
I have a Dallas Cowboys Twitter y'all can follow. It's at Cowboy Nation DAL, capital DAL. I have about 5,000 followers.
Wow, 5,000.
Help me out and get
Very
me to like
good.
6.
It's a lot more than me.
Very good. So you can do that. And I saw today where you tweeted something about Manfred. What did he do? I didn't get the background on it. I'm kind of scared of this open-ended question.
Yeah,
what did Bobby Manfred do today?
I retweeted a thing about Rob Manfred, and I'm going to reiterate it in my could have done without today. The fact that their MLB is going to decide to crack down on doctoring of baseballs, and I'm not against it, but I'm also not like 100% for it because for some reason, yes, it's cheating, but also it feels like it's a part of the game. And Mr. Manfred, is that really what we need to concentrate on right now? We still haven't had everything ironed out for a season that starts in less than 2 weeks, but we need to worry about if somebody's putting snot or tar on a baseball to help the spin radius and all the weird things that they're going to try to enforce this. They're going to have more officials in the dugouts to watch it. They're going to be having additional cameras that measure spin rate, that if a guy's spin rate somewhere around 90 to 95 and all of a sudden it jumps up to 97, 98, then we've got to have a full-blown investigation. And it just seems really, really ticky-tacky. And the same – it kind of brings up the same emotions from a month or two ago when baseball introduced the minor league rule changes that are going to come, like the wider bag. Like that's what's wrong with baseball. Good job, Rob Manfred. You solved it. You solved the MLB's problem by widening the bags from first, second, and third. It doesn't make sense that that's what you're going to use your time and concentration on at this point where your sport is.
Yeah. It always feels like Rob Manfred needs to be reminded of the whole forest trees thing. He kind of gets hung up on some of that. Drew, I thought fairly big news today in the college football transfer portal with what I thought was one of the stars of the bowl game for the Memphis Tigers, Taj Washington, entering the transfer portal. And kind of once you enter, you don't return. It feels like he's gone, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really does. And it was a shock when that news came out last hour, just due to the fact that, I mean, besides Calvin Austin, he's your second best option from last year. Yeah, Sean Dykes is going to come back from that at the tight end position. But as far as having another deep threat for whoever is starting for the Tigers, whether it's Peter Parrish, whether it's the Arizona transfer, it feels kind of weird. Yeah, I know the coach had to step down earlier this month, but like, why would you enter a transfer portal where you're already guaranteed to be the the second guy in that wide receiving core? I mean, have they recruited over him, and is there just so much talent at spring practice that we just don't know about? Or has he been talking to other schools already and just decided that he's got better opportunities instead of being the solidified number 2 guy behind Calvin, that he wants to be the number 1? I mean, I wish him the best of luck. I appreciate all the time and the great plays that he made at the University of Memphis, but it is really head-scratching. And, I mean, a lot of the transfers out of Memphis this year, from T.J. Carter to Obina Ize and now Taj Washington, have been a little head-scratching, because these aren't guys that are having any problems with lack of playing time or lack of exposure from their play.
They're top of the depth chart.
These are top guys. So it is head-scratching and trying to figure out, what's going on behind closed doors at South Campus that we just haven't been aware of. And hopefully, you look on the bright side and you think maybe we have actually recruited over a guy that's as talented as Taj Washington. Maybe there is going to be 2 or 3 wide receivers that emerge out of this 2021 season that we just haven't seen yet.
Well, I hope so. And it's everywhere. Everybody gets hit. Either you have been or you will get hit with the transfer portal. It's the times. Especially this year. And so it happens. I think probably the MVP of the bowl game was Taj Washington, wasn't he?
For sure. I think he could, other than Calvin Austin, was the breakout player of the year. I mean, he benefited more from COVID and opt-outs than any other player on the team.
So we'll talk about that today. We also have the World Golf Match Play starting today in Austin. It's not an elimination round. I don't think that starts until they get in to Friday, but a lot of golf being played. It's re-kiltered. It's on schedule. And the next World Golf Classic event, it's scheduled for the TPC Southwind, when the WGC FESJI will be played August 5th through 8th. And here's hoping for those dates to be normality times 100.
For sure. I honestly cannot wait. Golf tournament is something that I've been going to every year since I was 5, and to not have it last year really did leave a hole in the heart. Yeah, I know it's always hot, it's always humid, and we always complain about the heat for some reason when it's July and August.
But it wasn't that weekend.
That's when it's warm and hot. I mean, I don't understand why we always complain about it, but it will be great to be out there and hopefully be close to 100% capacity out there, especially with an outdoor event like that.
And for me, there is a very good chance that I will miss 2 years in a row, and I'm very sad for it because of this. Happy 45th birthday today to Peyton Manning, because that's the weekend he goes into the Hall of Fame at Canton, and I'm planning on going. I've long planned on going. Of course, plans can change, as we all know, but happy 45th birthday to Peyton Manning. When I started in this, Drew, in 1992, I'll never forget, George got the neatest mail of anybody in the building. Everybody had a little cubicle, and I might get some direct mail flyer from a department store. And he'd have stuff just stacked in there. I mean, it was really neat. He got the Atlanta Journal-Constitution newspaper. It was a day late, but he got the St. Louis Post-Dispatch a day late, and all kind of letters and stuff. And he used to get a bunch of mailings from sports information offices. And I'll never forget one day, he was it wasn't that first year, 92, it was the fall of 93, and he was off and told me, he said, go through my mail, every magazine you can think of, he got, from being, part of the Pro Football or College Football Writers Association. Anyway, he had a recruiting magazine, and on the cover of it was Newman High School's Peyton Manning. I knew of Archie's children, and I knew Cooper had been at Ole Miss and things wasn't working out because of injury. But I really, and now I'm not that big a recruiting guy. And I took it home that night and read it and kind of, studied up on recruiting and a big splashy story on him. And now full circle going into the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
That is 100% of a full circle from going all the way back to, like you said, 93. And for Peyton Manning, I mean, just goodness gracious, from high school all the way through the pros and now what he's doing after.
Couldn't miss and didn't.
Couldn't miss and has had success at every single level and everything that he's done. I mean, honestly, one of the best commercial actors out there. I love the commercials that he does with Brad Paisley. Peyton's Place is something that I watch every week when a new episode comes out, and they're just great episodes and great television. Peyton seems like a great guy.
Those are fun. Look, the NCAA tournament's down to just 16 teams, so if you've been waiting from the sidelines and watching, now's the time to get into action. FanDuel Sportsbook, they'll hook you up with exclusive 30-1 odds on all 16 teams left in the bracket, even the top seeds. That's right. New users get 30-1 odds on any team to win their next game in the upcoming round. You can win $150 on a $5 wager. Look, you can play the favorites, Razorback fans here. I know you want to play the Razorbacks, Bama fans in town. You want to go against the SEC. I know there's plenty of that as well. All you have to do is download the FanDuel Sportsbook app and make your first deposit to unlock exclusive 30-1 odds. The app is easy to use, and when you win, you'll get paid in as little as 24 hours. It's your money. It's the right thing to do, and FanDuel, they do it. Just sign up with promo code CASH so they know I sent you. That's FanDuel Sportsbook. Promo code CASH must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. New users only must wager in designated offer market. $10 first deposit required. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com for problem gambling support. Call 1-800-889-9789. This hour of our show brought to you every day by the good people at Lexus of Memphis, the one and only Lexus dealership in Memphis. Big Tennessee fans there. They love those Peyton Manning years at UT for sure. 2600 Ridgeway and online at lexusofmemphis.com. Give them a call at 901-362-8833. Lexus of Memphis offering the golden opportunity. March sales event. Spring is sprung, and you ought to see all the beautiful cars at Lexus of Memphis. If you ever thought I'd look great in one of those cars, well, you will. And Lexus of Memphis will make sure of that by the end of this business day. If you want, like the LS 500, you'll be looking and driving great. Stop by Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and put yourself in the driver's seat of that flagship LS 500. When you purchase a Lexus, you get top-of-the-line engineering and design, and that makes for the luxury driving experience. 901-362-8833, online at lexusofmemphis.com. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
Top story of the day.
My top.
Great job, Skyler.
Good job.
Skyler, he killed the first hit, didn't he?
Yeah,
Way
he
to
did.
go. Round of applause. Way to go, Skyler. Good job. Your top story.
My top story, I think we've already touched on Taj Washington, so my top story of the day, the Memphis Grizzlies looking to get back over 500 tonight in Oklahoma City against the Thunder. Tip time scheduled for 6, but we always know that means about 6:05, 6:07. The Grizz are
or somewhere in there.
somewhere around that time. The Grizz are also looking to start only their second winning streak of 3 or more, which is technically a winning streak. You have to get to 3 for it to be a streak. Their only other winning streak was 7 straight between January 11th and February 1st. So Grizz look to continue the home success that they had earlier in the week and last week.
Yeah, the Grizzlies tonight, they get to 1 over 500 if they get that win. And the schedule is just downright brutal the rest of the way, but 15 of the next 20 on the road. Again, brutal. My top story, Sweet 16 game starts Saturday. Another long wait. Loyola installed as a 6.5-point favorite over Oregon State. Baylor laying the 7 over Villanova. Arkansas a lusty 11 over Oral Roberts. Houston -6 over Syracuse. Sunday, Gonzaga 13.5. Baker's dozen cousin over Creighton. Michigan -2.5 over Florida State. Bama -6.5 over UCLA. And USC just 2.5 over Oregon. Pretty big favorites the rest of the way. Feels chalky here on out. But, Drew, a week ago, I thought the whole grid was chalky, and it was anything but that.
I did too, and as you just rattled off those lines, I think for probably 6 of the 8, I'm probably take the under. the underdog in that one. Maybe not to outright win, but a lot of those lines seemed a little too suspicious. I mean, Houston by that many points. I know Arkansas is much better than Oral Roberts, but this is also a team that barely beat Oral Roberts earlier in the year. And I mean, the Golden Eagles are on a roll. So I mean, it seems like the week to play the Dogs.
I'd love to find this out. We could from Matt Park, the voice of Syracuse, if he had asked Coach Boeheim, as defensive oriented as he is with that zone. Now, I know the Tigers didn't play zone, but how much of those 2 Houston games in the Syracuse coaching offices this week will be watched, Memphis and Houston? That's got to be the premise of what he kind of wants to do. I know it wasn't zone, but that stingy defense the Tigers played on that Sunday and then that following Saturday, it's got to be watched a lot.
Not top story of the day.
The saga of Dan Snyder and the Washington football team is continuing, as it's being reported that Snyder will gain almost complete control of the Washington football team as he plans to buy out the 3 minority owners, which does include Memphis and Fred Smith, of their 40.5% shares of the Washington football team for an estimated $875 million. This is actually $25 million less than what another group was going to buy out the minority owners earlier this year. They had offered $900 million, but Snyder rejected that and blocked that one. So why does he get a $25 million discount?
Daniel Snyder, I am right in line with you with my not top story. It is Daniel Snyder just saying to the NFL, to the media, up yours. Went out and threw some gigantic coin around and bought out some big boys, including FedEx founder Fred Smith. Just one of the titans of business and certainly of sport. And if the NFL eventually if they have to give Daniel Snyder the Donald Sterling treatment, well, we saw how overpriced when the NBA took it kind of into receivership or took it back from Donald Sterling. They got more than he would have ever gotten if he had made the deal. Could the Washington football team bring $5 billion?
I don't know. I mean, if you just
that
look
was a B.
I know. If you look at just where 40.5% of shares estimated at about $900 million, so be somewhere around $1 billion for half, and plus Snyder's half, plus everything else that goes in between. I think you might be able to fetch
NFL
might be able to get $3 billion.
Yeah, but the Clippers went for so much more after they took it and they did the selling. The NBA got it for like market value from Donald Sterling, but then they wanted the new owner, Steve Ballmer. His name was about to escape me. Steve Ballmer. They badly wanted him. He badly wanted them. He could very much afford it. Well, there's got to be somebody out there in the super high finance world that the same thing. I think the NFL, if they have to give him the Sterling treatment, they'll get it like that. Then they will make basically what they would make bringing in a new team.
Yeah, they would. And like you said, there are plenty of people out there that have the money to do it. I mean, just off the top of my head, and I think that it would be kind of the final blow in the Donald Trump, Jeff Bezos conflict that we've seen play out over the last few years. Jeff Bezos gets in the NFL when Donald Trump couldn't.
Well, Trump wanted the Bills and didn't get in, and he was a disaster in the USFL. And Bezos can buy.
He can buy the league if he wants.
I mean, he could. I'll take the Major League Baseball. I'll take the NFL. I'll take he could buy them all, and he is right there, ensconced in Washington, D.C. That's your top and not top story, and that's our start for this Wednesday, March 24th, 2021. Here's the guest lineup today. T.J. Reeves coming up in a few minutes. Then David Cobb, who we normally have on Monday, but we were out Monday for the game, so we get David today. Rick Harrell on the business of sports at 4:30. Mike DeCourcy from the Sporting News on college basketball. Dave down in Dallas about 5:30, and we'll wrap it up at 5:45 with Taco Bell Crunch Time. You are listening to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Drew and Stats.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio. We are Sports 56, 98.5, and 96.1.
Grind City Brewing Company is taking care of beerness in Memphis. Grind City Brewing is the dream of a father and son duo to create a brand that delivers a high quality, great tasting, and easy drinking craft beer. And they've done it. The brewery sits high above the city elevation in uptown Memphis with 15,000 square feet of beerness, including a 5,000 square foot tap room. Grind City Brewing is committed to all things Memphis, including the Tigers. They have created a malt liquor called Tiger Tail that is the official craft beer of the University of Memphis. Tiger Tail comes in 16-ounce six-packs and is not your typical malt liquor. Tiger Tail is crafted with a bold and smooth flavor, has 7.5% alcohol, and its clean finish makes it incredibly easy drinking. Tiger Tail and Grind City Brewing, taking care of beerness in Memphis.
At Jason's Deli, when you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises, just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it, because you're not just taking a bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes and special diets with vegan and gluten-free options available. Convenience and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com, so whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. Freshness is nearby at Jason's Deli with locations at Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, Poplar and Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Jason's Deli. It's wholesome food and no surprises. There's always that one team that ruins your bracket. That's why I'm betting the tournament on FanDuel Sportsbook, America's #1 sportsbook. On FanDuel, your first bet is risk-free. New users get up to $1,000 back in site credit, back if your first bet doesn't win. FanDuel has odds on all the action day and night, an easy-to-use app, multiple deposits, and fast withdrawals. If that's not enough, FanDuel wants to make you a millionaire. They're giving away $1 million to one lucky bettor. New and existing users get an additional shot at the payout every day you bet the tournament. So if you want a shot at becoming a millionaire or even a thousandaire, download the FanDuel Sportsbook app. Just use promo code CASH so they know I sent you. Must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. No purchase necessary. Restrictions apply for $1 million drawing. Risk-free offer for first online real money wager only. Site credit is non-withdrawable and expires 14 days after receipt. Terms apply. See sportsbook.fanduel.com for details. For problem gambling support, call 1-800-889-9789.
Hi, this is Troy Five-Ash, owner of Five-Ash Roof Services. You've heard me talk about how we offer the best products, the best warranties, and the best services for years. Now let's talk about pricing. Pricing should never be the only reason you hire a contractor, but in today's world, pricing is always a consideration. So we suggest you get 2 or 3 estimates for your roof replacement from a reputable, licensed, and insured company, and then give us a call. If we can't beat your best price for a comparable roof system by more than $100, we'll give you $100. It's that simple. We are so sure we can offer you the best price, beating all other qualified companies, we will hand you $100 if we can't, and thank you for the opportunity. So give us a call. What's the worst thing that's going to happen? Make $100? Five-Ash Roof Services, a proud supporter of Tiger Athletics and the official roofer of the Tigers home team. Five-Ash Roof Services, fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Five-Ash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
Don't miss 20 seasons of Grizzlies basketball in Memphis. Limited single-game tickets for all second-half games are on sale now. Tickets start at just $12, but they won't last long. Check out grizzlies.com/tickets today.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stat. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Dave Wolochen and Brett Norsworthy.
We normally would be back into basketball tomorrow, but we know this last year has been anything but normal. But it was so good to have the tournament back over all those days and all those games and all those great games and all those upsets and those great TV ratings. Look, we needed that. We need to get the interest back. We need to get people back in the stands, and we sure got people interested in watching on TV as every night drew a big number for the NCAA tournament. So we don't get back into it until Saturday, but we have last weekend to talk about. Drew Barrett with me today on this Wednesday afternoon. Dave will join us about 5:30. And, Drew, we welcome in now TJ Reeves, as we do every week at this time, to talk a whole host of topics. You can follow him on Twitter. He is at Buck Sideline guy, but he covers so many things, including college basketball and the World Golf Championship. I know he's got an eye on this afternoon. TJ, the tournament was a welcome sight with all the thrills and chills, wasn't it?
No doubt, and it is great to be with you guys. I know Wolo in transit in the vehicle, headed to do the NIT. It's good for the alma mater that they're still alive, but, I mean, we have to be honest here. Everybody cares more about what's going on, obviously, in the NCAA tournament that we're going to talk a bunch about here. Fantastic stuff, and you're right. We need this. It's a welcome distraction from everything else that's going on, and we lost this. I'll use the word, we were robbed of this a year ago. And it's almost like you don't know what you have till it's gone, right? Does that maybe fit? Is that not appropriate?
That's a song. I've got my lighter up in there, isn't it?
I think, yes, that's the song. And I think that's what we're experiencing right now. And, man, did we get extra helpings of the big upsets of the Oral Robertses and the Abilene Christians and North Texas and Iowa and just storyline, Loyola Chicago, storyline after storyline for this tournament. It's going to be a lot of fun to break it all down. But I have to break some news here on Sports 56 because I don't know if this has been covered, but a week ago we joked around about the Market Madness fun game that we're doing off the air and through my friends at the Sports Gambling Podcast and sportsgamblingpodcast.com. And I am here on the Memphis airwaves to testify that Wolo and Stats in the afternoon on Sports 56 currently lead the Market Madness contest of about 15 different hosts and different shows and podcasts with what you were able to do. And I think we have to bow a little bit to your Bud Fox from Wall Street, to Drew Barrett with his 3 shares of Gonzaga, his 3 shares of Baylor. He played within the rules. He got an Alabama in there. He got a USC in there. And you guys are looking good right now on the stock market version of the brackets. It's not completely over, but
it's all Drew.
You made a killing.
I mean,
it's 100% Drew.
TJ, I mean, it might be over. I'm looking at the results now. Our good friend on the other side of the state, Vince Ferrara, is in second, but he's about 100 points behind me. And so when I win, does the check come in the mail, or do you send me something else, or what is it?
Listen to this. This is not a we thing all of a sudden, Stats Norsworthy. This became an I thing, and when I win, it is a team effort on the Wolo and Stats show. You were just picking on behalf of the team. It's a team concept, Drew Barrett.
Well, when I'm the one that puts in all the time in the research, I mean, yeah, go team, go, but I'm winning MVP of this one, TJ.
Yeah, in the team picture, neither Dave nor I should be very prominent.
I would bet. Yeah, he would be up in the front of the media guide photo with the championship trophy probably in the net around his neck. But the only thing I'm saying again to the audience is this is not over with yet. You get a chance to reinvest for the teams that you lost, and the Wolo and Stats show didn't lose very many teams. And so you've got a chance to try to catch up, but there is a big lead going into weekend 2 of the 3 weekends to try to reinvest. And again, you projected very well, and you better hope that it continues because you have shares of 3 tied into Gonzaga, right, if I'm correct, and Baylor.
Yes, that is correct. You need them
to keep winning to keep the big cash flow coming here for Team Wolo and Stats. I just wanted to pay you proper credit on the show before we get back to the X's and O's of the games.
I appreciate that, TJ.
We had one of those ugly no contests in the first round. It fell on VCU. Oregon advanced, and then Oregon really put it to Iowa. So they vindicated. They backed it up after you make birdie in your buddy's 1 o'clock game. They backed it up with defeating Iowa. So they didn't get a real break there. But now with 16 teams remaining, here on, if we have to have an ugly no contest, TJ, that brings up the very real specter of an asterisk.
Well, sure, but I mean, I know what you're saying. We got to look at it on the positive front, which is there were 52 games scheduled last weekend and 51 of them played. And I will say,
right,
I was surprised that it was not more than one team that had this situation. I really believed there might be 2 or 3 of them that had this happen. It turns out it was only one. And the good news, mathematically and common sense, hey, imagine that, common sense rolls into here. There are only 16 teams now. They're in the same bubble. They are still testing. They have the extra couple of days here until it begins on Saturday, like you alluded to. I think as it stands right now, they're in good shape. And I don't think there's anything wrong in the short term. They may have to delay a game. And if they have to delay a game, let's say that they're intending to play on Sunday and say this game is going to play on Monday or Tuesday while we continue to test and make sure there are negative tests, I think you're in a position to do that. Now, obviously, if it's an Elite Eight game, you play the schedule out, and that's supposed to be Monday, Tuesday. How long can you wait when you're supposed to play national semifinals the following Saturday? Could you? But again, you're all in Indianapolis, and you're not traveling. They're all at the same hotels. It's walking distance, guys, to the Lucas Oil Stadium or the Bankers Life Coliseum from the hotels where they are. Literally, walking distance. So they have some to play with, and I'll remain optimistic. Let's hope that we don't get the scenario of, one team maybe can't play for a day or two, but I think they're going to have – I would be shocked. I'm going to throw it back to you guys. I would be shocked if they forfeit a team in the Sweet 16 or the Elite Eight. That would stun me if that were to be the decision. What do you guys think?
Oh, I'd 100% be shocked, especially the fact that you've started with 68, you're down to 16, and like you said, you kind of have a lot of time to play with, and it has always somewhat felt weird to me when you get into the NCAA tournament, 2 games in 3 days, and then you get an entire week off. Yeah, that's normally for travel, but going a week before that in the conference tournament, sometimes you got to play 5 games in 5 days. So, I mean, if we have to lose a day of rest, then we lose the day of rest. But with the asterisk talk, and I'm with both of y'all, I don't think that asterisks really need to be in play, but would it only make sense if, say, a team like Oral Roberts was the one that benefited the most from if there were happened to be cancellations, then would there be serious asterisk talk just due to the fact that first 15 to win?
And let's play out what you're talking about. If Gonzaga is the team that we're talking about that can't play an Elite Eight game, are we seriously talking about with them undefeated and on the verge of history that they wouldn't wait the extra day or two? I mean, I'm just putting that as, it's not likely, but that is a possibility that it could be them, that it could be Baylor as the number 1 seed that you would then be saying,
well, they should.
It's over right here, right now. Go ahead, Brett.
Well, they should, TJ, but especially with the ugly optics dynamics last week of the food and the workout area for the women's tournament versus the men's tournament, you want to get back to, and the NCAA likes to espouse how fair they are. Sometimes I don't really see it, but if you're going to do that for Gonzaga, then you should also accommodate Oral Roberts if Oral Roberts is the team stricken back.
I agree, and the same thing would be true for Loyola of Chicago or Oregon State or any of the other teams that are vying with those number 1 seeds to get it done. Let's hope it doesn't come to that, but it's been a crazy – the whole championship season of 2020 and 2021 has been an asterisk. From the hockey in a bubble for the Stanley Cup, the World Series. Again, I keep joking with you. I've got a Tampa Bay Rays hat on my head. They're the defending American League champions who had to go all the way out to San Diego, California, in an empty stadium to beat the New York Yankees and the Houston Astros to win the American League Championship on a neutral field in San Diego, 2,800 miles away from Tampa, Florida. That has an asterisk by it. Again, the Buccaneers Super Bowl win, I guess, has an asterisk by it because they did it in their own stadium in a COVID-19 year. So bring on the crazy, I guess. Let's just hope we get the games played. I know we're excited about them.
I would ask you to repeat all that about the Rays, but it almost gave me a sick headache. That's hard to believe it was that circuitous for them, but it was. That's what happened, Drew.
Yeah, TJ, I don't think you can really have an asterisk with the Bucs. I mean, they played in their own stadium, but that was scheduled years in advance, so I don't think that one fully counts. Were you as shocked by the Pac-12's performance as everybody else was? Because I know for sure I was.
I don't think anybody that covers the Pac-12 And if you really got them in a dark room with the truth serum, that any of the Pac-12 coaches believe they were all going to do what we saw them do last weekend. I mean, no one had them, with the exception, obviously, of the one loss now that Colorado suffered. That's the only loss they had from last weekend. Nobody had all these Pac-12 teams in the Sweet 16. But again, I think it's a testament to the crazy year. They were only playing each other, obviously, down the stretch of the season. We didn't have a great read off of the pre-conference season because you couldn't play a lot of games. There's COVID pauses involved. And I was joking around. I'll plug real quick here. I've got Tim Brando on the college basketball coast-to-coast show that I do. It's a daily show right now on TuneIn and on podcast. And I said this to Tim, and I'm saying it to you guys. When Oregon State won that league tournament, that conference tournament, winning 3 games in 3 days, I think a lot of us, including me, looked at that and said, man, that shows you the Pac-12 is just not very good. Well, as it turns out, it shows you that Oregon State was a lot better than what we understood. And the Pac-12 is a lot better than we understood because Oregon State put it on Tennessee and put it on Oklahoma State as a 12 seed. And that USC team, back to them for a half second, annihilating Kansas. They've got a couple of NBA caliber players, including Evan Mobley in the middle. They are dangerous with a capital D. So, yes, nobody saw this coming from the Pac-12. It's crazy.
Did anybody see coming the futility of the Big Ten with only one team in the Sweet 16? That's Michigan. They still could win it all. They have a big piece that's hurt, and they face a really good Florida State team. If they win that game, they'll play the winner of Bama, UCLA. But the futility, I said yesterday, TJ, whether it's football or basketball, the Big Ten, they huff and they puff and they blow nobody over.
Yes. And nobody had that either. Again, the more we watch, the less we know. My hand is up. You can't see me right now. I had Ohio State in a championship game in every bracket. I fell for it again, where we watch these things and we think we know, and they couldn't handle it with Oral Roberts head-to-head. And likewise, Illinois couldn't handle Loyola Chicago. They've got 5 times the talent and the resources year in and year out that Loyola Chicago does, and Porter Moser just absolutely undressed Brad Underwood out coaching him. So they took hits. Iowa played that game on Monday afternoon and did not guard Oregon at all for the entire 40 minutes. Other than Luka Garza scoring a bunch of points, you wouldn't have even known they were there. So, again, disappointing for the Big Ten. How surprising is it that Michigan is the only team that got out of the first weekend out of a conference that had 9 teams there? It is kind of hilarious that it got down on Monday night to Maryland flying the flag for the Big Ten, ACC tradition, and of course Syracuse right now still flying the flag for the ACC. That makes total sense. Traditional Big East team is now flying the flag for the ACC.
Oh, 100%. Just historically makes 100% sense there, TJ. But after
nothing says Tobacco Road like the Syracuse Orange, right?
Exactly. You know, when you think all-time Big Ten basketball, you think the Maryland Terrapins. Continue on.
I think Lefty Driesell every time, yeah.
But, TJ, we thought going into the tournament that it was going to be a lot more chalky than it was, just due to the fact of there not being any crowds, and talent was going to win at the end of the day, and obviously that didn't happen. It kind of looks chalky in the second weekend of the tournament. Do we have more upsets, or do we finally get the chalk we thought we were going to have?
Oh, I think you better be ready that there are going to be 2 or 3 teams that surprise here, and Loyola Chicago may be that team. They get Oregon State here, and then if they win that game, look out to be in the Final Four, and they're in that region, very well coached. You wonder if it all holds up. You make a good point. There's no travel involved. This is the bizarre 2020 circumstance, 2021 championship season now, where they're all in Indianapolis. They're all at the same hotels around each other. They're all, again, in close proximity to the arenas where they're playing and Lucas Oil Stadium, where they've got 2 courts down. And I think that's going to help, because a lot of these schools would have gone back to their campus for a couple of days and then travel back to another region. Some of them going back and forth from the east to the west or the west to the east. You have none of that this year. So I think it does benefit the ones who are still there in the comfort zone. Again, it's going to be wild to watch all of this unfold. That Alabama team intrigues me a bunch in the matchup with UCLA. I think I texted this to one or both of you guys. I was texting it and putting it on social media everywhere. That second half run against Maryland, speaking of them, was the closest thing that we saw to 1990 Loyola Marymount and Bo Kimball and Jeff Fryer and Paul Westhead and the warp speed, gun it down the court, shoot threes, get the other team fatigued, get them rattled. I about came out of my chair, and I'm not an Alabama alum, watching that on Monday night and reminiscing about 1990. So they're dangerous, and they're dangerous with multiple scores, and what a game. If they beat UCLA and Michigan goes on to beat Florida State, I got a lot of Florida State fans that I know that I'm around here in the Tampa Bay area. They believe this could be a chance to knock off Michigan. Michigan may be damaged goods, but if it is Michigan and Alabama, that's going to be a great Elite Eight game, guys.
I call that side, the lower left, the kind of the football bracket with those names: Michigan, FSU, even UCLA and Bama. TJ, plug that your great college basketball coast to coast podcast again, featuring Tim Brando.
Yes, and so you can find that on Apple Podcasts under College Basketball Coast to Coast. You search it. It's right there. It's also on TuneIn on the Tag Sports Group channel. Go under Sports and Tag, T-A-G, Tag Sports Group. The show is streaming top and bottom of every hour, every day, a new show at noon. Tim Brando is on the Wednesday show. Brando has got a lot. Brando takes a couple of swings at the committee, by the way, on this show. He touts the Pac-12 and admits that all of us got it wrong. He talks about his most dangerous team he believes in the tournament. Here's a hint. They wear orange, and they're not Oregon State, and they're not the Tennessee Volunteers. That's who he believes is really still dangerous left in this tournament. So thank you for the plug, because that show is on right now. And I pledge to the audience, I'm going to tweet it right when I hang up here, the link to the Market Madness, where Wolo and Stats are in the lead due to Drew Bud Fox.
They did nothing.
Picking the teams in the Market Madness. You guys keep it up, and let's see what happens in the tournament. Great to be with you.
Thanks, TJ.
TJ, you're the best. Thank you so much. We will visit again next week. Enjoy the ball. TJ Reeves with us every Wednesday afternoon. And again, just like we do most days, Dave and I do nothing, and Drew kind of does all the work. Good job, Drew. Way to go.
I appreciate it. It's nice to be rewarded for my efforts and acknowledged for all the stuff that I do to really drag y'all across the finish line.
Are you going to hang a banner?
Oh, of course.
I guess you're going to hang another banner.
Of course. I've already got two in there and only one's legit.
Hey, summer road trips, they're on the way, and if you're ready for a new Chevy, All-Star Chevrolet in Olive Branch, that's where you need to be. New Chevy Traverses with third-row seating, Equinox, Blazers, thousands in cash back, financing as low as 0 for 72 months. The almost famous All-Star Chevy demo sale, it's on. Demos by the dozen. If it's a Chevy car or truck or SUV you want to sell, bring it to All-Star Chevy with the title and get a check today. They'll beat any legitimate offer, any 2015 to 2021 with less than 75,000 miles and clear title, and yes, you'll get your check the same day. The Chevy Certified Pre-Owned lot, it's full of Tahoes, Suburbans, Yukons, Silverados, much, much, much more. Remember, it's not Mount Moriah, it's not Covington Pike, it's not South Haven, it's not Collierville. It's got to be Olive Branch. Everyone at All-Star, one job. Make sure you have fun, get the best deal going, and do it in record time. All-Star Chevy in Olive Branch is the place to go to sell your vehicle. Ask for Jeff Brooks and tell him Sports 56 sent you. Find new roads to All-Star Chevy on Kraft Goodman Road in Olive Branch, or visit allstarautogroup.com. We round out hour number 1. When we return, you're listening to Sports Time.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ. Listen to us daily on AM 560, 98.5 FM, and 96.1 FM.
It's happening again at Family Leisure. Don't miss out again this summer, because pools are going fast. Spas in stock now, too, and they're ready for delivery. New 2021 patio furniture, state-of-the-art in stock now, and up to 20% off select sets. Swing into spring with a brand new play gym, professional installation available. The temperature's rising, and so is the service at Family Leisure. Family Leisure, I-40 and Whidden Road, where family and fun come together.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
2021 is finally here. Might I suggest we start the wonderful new year with a makeover for your beautiful house. I'm Brian Elder. I'm a roofer. I fix roofs. Don't let them tell you that it has to be replaced when all it may need is some love. 867-0303. Let me love on your roof. I've made quite the reputation over the last decade as the guy to call after the insurance company denies the claim. Overturning a claim that has gone bad is an art form where you argue county code, manufacturer specs, and details of your policy that they have to abide by. So let me We see it first. If I say it's a claim, it's a claim. 867-0303. Money is free at Brian Elder Roofing with 0% financing for half a decade. I'll measure your roof from outer space and get you a quote right over the phone. 867-0303 or BrianElderRoofing.com.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Spring is on its way. Almost time to roll out the green carpet. Start planning now with innovative help from the Home Depot. Use our project calculators to figure how much grass seed you'll need, or just the right amount of mulch. Our online workshops and how-to videos will get you up to speed fast, from outdoor fire pits to planter projects. If you're ready to roll, so are we. Download our mobile app to get started. Bring on spring with help from the Home Depot. How doers get more done.
Guns & Ammo has a full line of pro shot products, a tremendous selection of accessories from belts, holsters, gun cases, specialty boxes, bench-made knives, and assorted optics. At Guns & Ammo, enjoy selecting all your favorite firearms, from hunting supplies to target shooting to self-defense. Experience the excellence at Guns & Ammo with a friendly, knowledgeable staff and hundreds of guns to choose from. Guns & Ammo, 3615 Summer Avenue, Memphis. Local and supporting the NRA and friends of the NRA. Guns & Ammo, family-owned since 1985.
Got new car fever for a new ride? We got it covered at Gossett Kia on Covington Pike. How about a new car for less than $5 a day? 2021 Kia Forte, $135 a month lease. Get next level versatility in 2021 Kia Soul, $149 a month lease. And fall in love with driving again in 2021 Kia K5, $179 a month lease. All 36 months with $3149 due at signing, and they all come with Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. So get your Kia on at Gossett Kia 1900 Covington Pike or online at KiaCovingtonPike.com. Ask for Bobby J. He'll put you in a new Kia today.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
All 36-month leases, $3149 due at signing, 0 security deposit, $650 acquisition fee, 10,000 miles per year, 20 cents excess mileage. Forte NE 319,491, MSRP 20,625. Sold M775597, MSRP 20,660. K5 MG 005560, MSRP 25,725. Includes all manufacturer rebates and incentives. PF 695 excludes tax title and license with approved credit. Warranty is a limited powertrain warranty. See Kia.com or retailer for details. Offer valid through 3/31/21. Dealer stock only.
Hey, we understand. With everything that's happening, with all the new regulations, maybe you're not ready to come and hang out at Sweetgrass to catch a ball game. We want you to, we really do. And we're open for you to do just that. But we're also offering the next best thing, the new Sweetgrass Tailgate Party Packs. Whether it's wings, house-made dips, sliders, or other Sweetgrass tasty treats, all you have to do is call us or go to sweetgrassmemphis.com to order just what you're dreaming of when you're dreaming of watching sports and enjoying some sweet, sweet Sweetgrass.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
Tigers tomorrow night in Denton against Boise State. Drew, that could be a conference game in a few years. You thought about that?
No, actually, I haven't thought about it because I'm not 100% sure how well Boise State will work, if it's going to work.
If it'll be basketball.
If it'll be basketball.
Might just be football.
And honestly, if Boise State's joined the conference, that means realignment's in the news. It's going on. Are we going to be in the American at that time? So there's a lot of ifs, ands, and buts, but
you hope not.
I definitely
I would say you hope not. You want that step up, real or perceived. I think it will be both, and we know it would be if it's one of the current Power Fives. But if Boise's in the conference, it might just be football. That's a long way to go to play football. But we know it's worth it. It's a real long way to go. Heck, for about anything else, including men's basketball. No need to disparage any of the known non-revenue producing sports. That's a long way to go just to play basketball on a Tuesday night.
No, it is. I mean, that's a lot of money in jet fuel right there for chartering planes for basketball. But like you said, it just doesn't make a lot of sense, especially with non-revenue making sports. I mean, I've been working with softball this year, and I just couldn't imagine Natalie Poole and her team getting on a bus and having to drive all the way to Idaho. It just makes no sense.
Well, you would almost have to have playing partners and play on the way. And if Wichita State were full member, you'd have to stop by and play them. But a lot of things, and we've talked about this out of the pandemic, maybe we don't need to adhere to such strict conference rules. Because maybe we might need to play someone else and designate that as a conference game for other sports in the area. Heck, it's done a lot of times, been done at other times throughout sports history, and we've talked about that during the pandemic. That's 1 hour in the books. We want you to stay with us because we got a lot to do between now and 6 o'clock, and we want you to be a part of it. 67129 at the First Bank text line or 360-8255 at the First Bank phone line. And we start hour number 2 with our friend David Cobb from CBS Sports. That's up next.
Hi, folks. Bob Burkhammer for Sunrise Buick GMC Truck. Thinking about buying a newer used car truck? Remember, the selection's better and the savings are bigger at Sunrise. Over 600 new cars and trucks to choose from. Factory rebates up to $8,000. Interest low as 0%. Bad credit, it's okay. At Sunrise, we've got financing for everybody. SunriseMemphis.com. We're saving you money. It's just the way of doing business. Covington Pike, Wolf Chase, and Collierville. We make it fun to buy a car again. Check out the all-new Sunrise Truck Corral. Huge selection of nothing but trucks. All makes, all models, all prices, all trucks, all the time. Next to Sunrise Wolf Chase.
Did you know nearly 40% of men under 40 and over 75% of men over the age of 40 experience sexual performance concerns? At the Memphis Men's Clinic, their experienced physician performs a comprehensive evaluation that determines which specific issues may interfere with your sexual performance. These issues can vary and range from anxiety to medical issues, low testosterone, or erectile dysfunction. The Memphis Men's Clinic has evaluated hundreds of men of all ages over the years and reestablished a normal sexual life. The Memphis Men's Clinic will work aggressively to resolve issues and allow you to restore your sexual health and overall well-being. That's the Memphis way. If you're 20 years old or 90 years old, come and get cared for the Memphis way. Treatment that's based on your specific needs after a professional clinical evaluation by their experienced board-certified physician. Call the Memphis Men's Clinic today at 901-443-0475 or visit memphismensclinic.com.
Hi, this is Troy 5 owner of 5 Ash Roof Services. You've heard me talk about how we offer the best products, the best warranties, and the best services for years. Now let's talk about pricing. Pricing should never be the only reason you hire a contractor, but in today's world, pricing is always a consideration. So we suggest you get 2 or 3 estimates for your roof replacement from a reputable, licensed, and insured company, and then give us a call. If we can't beat your best price for a comparable roof system by more than $100, we'll give you $100. It's that simple. We are so sure we can offer you the best price, beating all other qualified companies. We will hand you $100 if we can't, and thank you for the opportunity. So give us a call. What's the worst thing that's going to happen? Make $100? 5 Ash Roof Services, a proud supporter of Tiger Athletics and the official roofer of the Tigers home team. 5 Ash Roof Services, fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
5 Ash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
There's always that one team that ruins your bracket. But that's why I'm betting the tournament on FanDuel Sportsbook, America's #1 sportsbook. On FanDuel, your first bet is risk-free. New users get up to $1,000 in site credit back if your first bet doesn't win. FanDuel has odds on all the action day and night. An easy-to-use app, multiple deposits, and fast withdrawals. It's all there at FanDuel. That's not enough. FanDuel wants to make you a millionaire. They're giving away $1 million to one lucky bettor. New and existing users get an additional shot at the payout every day you bet the tournament. So if you want a shot at becoming a millionaire or even a thousandaire, download the FanDuel Sportsbook app. Just use promo code BIGHEAD so they know I sent you. Must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. No purchase necessary. Restrictions apply for $1 million drawing. Risk-free offer for first online real money wager only. Site credit is non-withdrawable and expires 14 days after receipt. Terms apply. See sportsbook.fanduel.com for details. For problem gambling support, call 1-800-889-9789.
The Jeep Celebration and Ram Truck Month is on at Gossett Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Fiat on the Pike, and it's time to get your adventure on. 2021 Jeep Grand Cherokee Laredo ready to ride. $27,990 or $369 a month. Power up in 2021 Dodge Charger XST, $26,990 or $356 a month. And get serious performance with 2021 Ram 1500 Quad Cab 4x2 Tradesman, over $8,500 off MSRP or $355 a month. And leave boring behind in your 2021 Fiat 500 X-Pop, $20,990 or $264 a month. So drive past the rest and come to the best. Gossett Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Fiat, 1901 Covington Pike, or shop online, GossettMotorCars.net.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
Finance
through Chrysler. All 3500 cash down, 75 months at 4.11 APR. Cherokee MC 546,501, MSRP 36,110. Charger MH 515,408, MSRP 32,860. 1500 MS 500,496, MSRP 35,545. Pop MP 88,7786, MSRP 26,830. Includes all rebates and incentives. PF 695. Excludes tax on a license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 3/31/21. Dealer stock only.
Listen Sundays at 11 a.m. to join Idlewild Presbyterian Church for worship. Idlewild is a PCUSA church located in Midtown Memphis.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis, W253DF Memphis, and WIVG Tunica Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Now, more of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Ocean and Brett Norsworthy.
Hour 2 begins now. We're with you until 6 o'clock. David Cobb from CBS Sports will join us momentarily. Rick Harrow on the business of sport at the bottom of this hour. To start our third and final hour will be Mike DeCourcy from the Sporting News. So between TJ Reeves, David Cobb, and Mike DeCourcy, and Dave joining us from Dallas at 5:30 on the NIT and on college basketball, we got you covered on the college basketball front. Stay with us. 671. I'm sorry, it's not 67129. It's 70236. I'm sorry, 70236. The First Bank text line. I erred in the first hour in giving that out. 70236. I'm very sorry. That's our new text line. First Bank text line 70236. Phone number 360-8255. Whatever we do, don't change that phone number, Drew.
No, I can't change that number. I mean, goodness gracious. It would throw me all whack. The new text number has thrown me out of whack. I've gone to text other people, like we've already gotten a text from Gabe on our text line earlier today. I do that throughout the day for other shows, and it just threw me for a loop for a couple weeks. But I finally got it programmed in my phone. That way I won't forget it.
That's it. 70236. We talk college basketball. We normally visit with David Cobb on Mondays at 4, but we were carrying the games from Westwood 1. David able to join us today, and we're glad to catch up. And David, kind of my continuing theme, how great the tournament was, how badly it was needed. I mean, thrills and chills and upsets from the jump. The first night was great, and it continued through the last night, and the ultimate David versus Goliath, big budget against little bitty budget, when Abilene Christian and the shocker over Texas. It's just been great, David. Glad you could join us.
Yeah, no doubt. I was texting with some of my buddies about a local equivalent to Abilene Christian knocking off Texas, and obviously we don't have maybe somebody in the region quite as diminutive in stature and as new to Division I as Abilene Christian. But, imagine UT Martin knocking off Tennessee in an NCAA tournament game, or
Lipscomb.
Yeah, there you go. Lipscomb knocking off Tennessee or something like that.
Central Arkansas beating the Razorbacks.
There you go. That's a great one. Yes. It would be unthinkable, unfathomable almost. So it's really, it was cool to see that. And it was surprising because I know Texas hasn't had NCAA tournament success recently, but that Texas team had just won the Big 12 tournament, and that Texas team is the best one that Shaka Smart has had since he's been there. And then Abilene Christian, the way they played against UCLA, proved that, they needed to be a 14 seed. They were even a 15 seed. And they got the job done against the Longhorns, though, and wrote a chapter in their history books that'll be really meaningful to those players for a long time.
David, with that loss to like you said, probably one of the best Texas teams we've seen in a long time, and definitely the best team Shaka Smart has had at his tenure at UT Austin, does he ever live it down? Does he ever have enough success to get past that loss to Abilene Christian?
I'm not sure. This was kind of supposed to be the year. I mean, they had the right mix of veteran guards. They had a hot one-and-done prospect in Greg Brown, who I'm assuming will go to the NBA. This was supposed to be the year for him. And we know Texas is pretty trigger-happy when it comes to moving on from coaches. Look at what we saw, obviously, with football there and Tom Herman. So I'm not saying he's in trouble at this moment, but if you told me it wouldn't shock me. And now they kind of got to go back to the drawing board. I don't know which of those guys maybe are going to come back. There were some very visible sort of on-court chemistry issues at key moments for that team. with some of the in-game disputes and things of that nature. So I don't know where they go from here. That's it's a disappointment for Texas basketball for sure. After a great season, after winning a Big 12 title, to go out there and put forth that much of a dud, it's going to be hard for Shaka to recover from that blemish on his resume. At this point, he's kind of just been a continuation of the last couple of years under Rick Barnes, where they had kind of topped out. They weren't doing anything in the tournament anymore. And this was supposed to be the year where they broke through that. And because if you remember, I mean, last year before the season got put on hold, he was in trouble then. Pandemic might have saved his job, to be honest, because there was only one power conference coaching change in college basketball because we were in the throes of the pandemic. So where does that leave him going forward is a great question. And I would think that his leash is going to be pretty short from this point forward.
David, all the shortcomings, all the questions, all the travails, all the but maybes around the UT in Austin also kind of play into the UT at Knoxville. And it started kind of their symbiotic relationship with the ouster of Rick Barnes and him landing at Tennessee. We started this a few weeks ago. Maybe this just is Rick Barnes, and it's pretty good. It's real good. He's not going to embarrass your program. He's not going to get you in trouble. You're going to win a lot of games. You're going to have a lot of fun. You're just not ever going to do much come March.
Yeah, and this was a disappointing year for Tennessee as well because they started out 10-1. They were loaded with talent. I mean, Jaden Springer and Keon Johnson comprised, I think, one of the best recruiting classes ever to come to Tennessee there. And they end up just lifeless in the first round. And that is kind of Rick Barnes' history in this tournament at this point. I mean, he made the Final Four with TJ Ford, but, I mean, we're coming up on 2 decades, since that happened.
Three.
For Tennessee fans, I would caution you, the grass is always greener on the other side, but learn from your football program and appreciate what you have in Rick Barnes because even if it's just 2004 through 2008 level Philip Fulmer in terms of the performance, that's still better than what the other side of the coin could be. And I think Tennessee fans remember that from what happened with Donnie Tyndall and how bored they got with Conzo Martin. But I hope that they appreciate Rick Barnes because it's been disappointing. It hasn't been great the last 2 years, but what he took over in the wake of the Tyndall mess versus where the program is now is it's a remarkable turnaround. And I realize he's getting paid. He's one of the top 7 or 8 paid coaches in college basketball, and so at some point, there needs to be a deep tournament run there to really continue to justify that. But the program is still in a good place, even after Kim English's departure yesterday to George Mason. Great sign. Kennedy Chandler, the former Briarcrest star, posts this message online reaffirming his commitment to Tennessee. And I think that should allow everyone to kind of take a deep breath here and see there's going to be some guys in the portal. I can almost guarantee you, potentially starting this week, but they'll be fine, especially since Chandler is still coming.
Hey, David, when are there not going to be more people entering and exiting that transfer portal? But to kind of defend maybe Rick Barnes, was it Rick Barnes and UT that underwhelming, or did we just underestimate Oregon State that much?
Yes, both. Wow, Oregon State just makes no sense. The whole Pac-12 thing is just shocking.
Yeah,
I know. The Big 12 and the Big 10 each have one team in the Sweet 16, and the Pac-12 has twice as many as those 2 leagues combined. It's just insane. And so, Oregon State is just really a shocking story, to be quite honest. I view them as almost as shocking as the number 15 seed in Oral Roberts making it to the Sweet 16, because Oral Roberts has a distinct style. Oral Roberts has a total offensive firecracker in Max Abman and a really, really solid forward in Kevin O'Banner. I mean, Ethan Thompson for Oklahoma State is good, but he's not elite, I would say. And so it's surprising that they've managed to go on this run both through the Pac-12 tournament and through the first 2 rounds of the NCAA tournament. But there's no excuse if you're Tennessee. You had a whole week almost to prepare, for that Oregon State team, and you were just awful. And so, they got to get the offense figured out. They got to realize that Grant Williams ain't walking back through that door to get you 20 a night, easy buckets down in the post. And so they need to get a little bit more innovative on the offensive side. Honestly, maybe pop in some tape from Penny and see what they did with the Lion over those last couple of months or something, because Tennessee needs an offensive refresh, no doubt. Kennedy Chandler will help a lot.
I love your patience. I don't think anybody's gunning for Rick Barnes' job, or should they? But this time next year, a lot of people could be restless. But that cautionary tale, that patience from the from Tennessee football, and we're back to it. I mean, they parallel Texas football. Let's change football coaches. Let's try another football coach. Let's pay off another one. And they might need to stick with Shaka for the same reasons and the resolve and the patience and the cautionary tale as Tennessee needs to with Rick Barnes, and both of them kind of get football settled down.
Yeah, I mean, it hasn't bottomed out. I mean, Texas they still won the Big 12 tournament. Tennessee was still a number 5 seed. And, if you look back through Tennessee's basketball history, landing a number 5 seed, that historically would put you this would be a top probably 12 or 15 season all time in that program. Obviously, we put a lot of emphasis on NCAA tournament performance, and I get it. But you also have to acknowledge, the entire body of work in a season. And so in that regard, Shaka Smart and Rick Barnes had decent seasons. It's just hard when, your peers are, continuing to dance, and you feel like in the end you fell short of expectations. And I can tell you, though, from especially having covered Tennessee when they won an SEC regular season title before getting bounced by Loyola Chicago, that SEC regular season title, those things mean something to the players and to the coaches. They don't really mean that much to the fans. So I think that Texas Big 12 tournament title, I guarantee you that means something to the players on that team and to Shaka Smart. I just don't think it means as much to the fans. And so within those athletic departments, the seasons that those teams are coming off of may be viewed differently than they are by the fans, because I think so often fans and media put a lot of emphasis solely on NCAA tournament performance, when perhaps that shouldn't be the only indicator of whether or not a program is moving in the right direction.
You're right, David. It probably shouldn't be, but it's the only reason we hang banners is what happens in March and the first weekend of April. So for most fans, that's all that matters. And I promise we're going to get back to basketball, but I do have to get your opinion, especially happening earlier this week out of Oregon State. Their president has resigned after everything that happened while he was at LSU. We've seen Les Miles go down for it. We saw the AD at Kansas, is my name slipping my mind right now.
Jeff Long
has gone down for it. And we keep waiting on the domino of LSU to fall, and it's not falling.
When you hit LSU people.
We also have been waiting, almost 2 years for the Will Wade domino to fall, and that's not falling.
Absolutely.
Is LSU just bulletproof and never going to fall down?
No, I really do believe that the hammer is coming in a variety of manners for LSU football and basketball, because the issues with the football program are so deep, and and coupled with what appears to be a sort of regression after the national title season. I just think it puts Ed Ogeron in an untenable position unless they just are absolutely just unbeatable on the field this year. I don't see this lasting very much longer for him, to be honest, and the same for Will Wade, because I think eventually at some point the NCAA is going to start issuing rulings on the corruption into college basketball, and Will Wade's got to be caught in those crosshairs. And maybe it was worth it for them to let the string play out on Will Wade, because you know what? They've been pretty good the last few years under him, and if they'd cut bait, they would have been in a tough spot, would have been a tough place to hire a new coach. They would have had a tough time recruiting. And so, you know what? Maybe they're sort of defiant towards the NCAA and Will Wade defiance towards his own university. Maybe ultimately, you know what? That might have been in the best interest. This is a strategy that the basketball programs in particular are taking with this NCAA cloud still looming, is that, you know what? We're just going to make you guys prove that you're actually going to do something. Because, I mean, we've seen it with Kansas and Bill Self. We've seen it with Arizona and Sean Miller, LSU and Will Wade, and the list goes on. You know, there's not going to be an abundance of self-flagellation among the basketball programs in order to, you know, prostrate themselves before the NCAA. I mean, the self-imposed postseason ban at Arizona is about as dramatic of a step as you're going to see, and they probably wouldn't have made the tournament anyway. So, you know, Auburn took that same step, but that can't be enough. There's got to be more coming, and LSU will absolutely be caught up in that. And so you just hope that baseball program can stay out of the crosshairs, because those folks down there in Baton Rouge are going to need something to cling to when it gets ugly here over the next couple of years.
David Cobb with us from CBS Sports. You can follow David on Twitter at David W. Cobb. Normally joins us on Monday at 4. So generous to let us have some of his time today as we were carrying the games on Monday on Westwood One. The ultimate football school, Alabama. I asked this almost joking yesterday. If you go to a game at Bryant-Denny Stadium, you see in that area leading into Bryant-Denny Stadium, into the north end of the stadium, all the famed coaches, whether it's Frank Thomas from yesteryear, Wallace Wade from yesteryear, to Bear Bryant, to Gene Stallings, to now Nick Saban, their statues. If he cuts the nets down, Nate Oates get a statue over there by the football guys?
Yeah, I think it becomes Oates Coliseum at that point, maybe. Oh, yeah, I think so, absolutely. At a school like that, if they win a national title in his second year, it would be unbelievable. I mean, you're talking about a program that has a decent basketball history, but, I mean, nothing remotely, you know, close to what they're on the cusp of right now in the Sweet 16. I mean, goodness, they'd only been in the NCAA tournament a couple times, you know, over the last, 15 years. A lot of 20-win seasons in there, but they were never getting over that hump. They were kind of like Andy Kennedy's Ole Miss teams a lot of times. It was just right there on the bubble, decent teams, but just weren't getting in. And they're not only in now, I think they're my pick to win it all.
Whoa! You just gonna drop that in there on us?
Go right over it. Okay.
Yeah. But before you build a statue,
okay,
you got to make
sure. Well, if
sure
they're gonna win it all, we got to start sometime building it.
I know, but they ought to go ahead and put out some bids, in my opinion. But I think you got to make sure he doesn't leave for Indiana. That's my worry with Nate Oates, because you're talking about a guy who I think has a pretty big ego, who showed earlier this season he's not afraid to step out and challenge Coach K at Duke. All right, so you're talking about a guy who takes up a lot of space in the room, so to speak, and he'll always be second fiddle at Alabama. I don't care if it's Nick Saban or who's walking the sidelines at Bryant-Denny. If you're coaching basketball, you're not the top show on campus ever. And I think Nate Oates might eventually get to a point where he wants to be in a situation where he is the top dog on campus. So, I don't know if you can build a statue after just 2 years, but if they win the Natty and he stays for a few more, then yes, do it.
Wow, David. I mean, the fact that you have them right now as your national championship favorite is just mind-blowing to me. And the reason why, can a team survive, especially say they do make it all the way to Final Four, against a team like Gonzaga when you live and die by the three?
Yeah, I think they can, because I think the talent, they've got more talent than Gonzaga's seen in a few months now. Gonzaga was great in the non-conference, but, Alabama is more than just three-point shooting. They're deep. They play defense. It would be an awesome game. Everybody wants to see Gonzaga Baylor, and that would be great. I would be more excited about seeing Gonzaga Alabama, because you're talking about probably the two best offensive teams in college basketball, and just a lot of talent on the floor in that game. And that's the matchup I have in the Final Four, and I have Alabama winning it, which is just bizarre almost. But you know what? If they get hot, yeah, they will beat Gonzaga. If they only shoot 27-28% from beyond the arc against Gonzaga, I think I like Gonzaga, but the defense is good enough to get Alabama there. I think that the defense is good enough to get them through these next couple of games, especially against UCLA. I don't see them having a lot of trouble with UCLA. And then I like them against either Michigan or Florida State, no matter who they end up playing there. So I really hope we get to see a Gonzaga Alabama game. I just think it would be phenomenal.
David, I love the bowl pick. All right, so that's left side, Gonzaga, Bama. I got a mortgage balance to take care of. Go ahead and give me the right side, too.
Hey, I got 7 out of 8 on the left side, but my right side's a little disjointed here. I think I got like 2 out of 8. Those being
bottom
Arkansas
right killed everybody.
I know. And I was so mad at Rutgers because I was fading Houston pretty hard, and Rutgers had it in the bag against those guys in the second round.
And let
gave it up. I know. But, yeah, so, I mean, I like I actually had Ohio State coming out of the South region. That's not going to happen. Houston, the path is made for them. I mean, it is just as clear as a road as you could possibly want to the Final Four, because their defense is good enough to slow down Syracuse. That would be the best defense that Syracuse has seen in a while. That West Virginia team that Syracuse beat is not your typical Bob Huggins defense. They were an offensive-oriented team this year, and they didn't play quite Bob Huggins-level defense. Houston plays really good defense. We know that. So I think Houston will beat Syracuse. I think Houston makes the Final Four. I think they're athletic enough and good enough defensively to beat any of the 3 teams that stand in their way at this point. And you know what? I guess I got to go with Baylor out of the South. I thought Ohio State would get there. That didn't happen. But I really like a potential Arkansas-Baylor matchup in the Elite Eight. That would be a really good game, I think. And the one real quick shout-out from the right side of the bracket, Villanova deserves a lot of credit. I think just about everybody had them going out in either the first or the second round without Colin Gillespie. They were awful without him their first couple games. He blew out his knee in late February, and just a crucial injury, a devastating loss for them. For them to be in the Sweet 16, it's a tremendous salute to Jay Wright and the other guys on that squad. But I like Baylor to win that game. I guess I got Baylor in the Final Four, which, guys, this has been a crazy NCAA tournament. But here we are talking about, a Final Four with Baylor, Gonzaga, Alabama, and then I guess the 4th team right now, the logical choice looks like Houston.
David, we will talk about it again with you on Monday, as we'll still have a lot of work to do before we have it settled, as we're into Tuesday and then a short week and then on to or stay in Indianapolis for the Final Four coming up the weekend after this one. We'll talk about it with you on Monday, and we appreciate your time on this Wednesday. David, thanks so much.
Thank you, guys. Talk to you later.
Thanks, David.
You got it. David Cobb with us from CBS Sports, talking all things NCAA tournament. Bama to win it all. That would be something. Drew, I had an Alabama at the time. He's retired now, but he was associate athletics director and fairly big there and knew the lay of the land. He once told me that when that basketball season at Alabama started after National Signing Day, when it used to be that first Wednesday in February.
I mean, I can see that. It's that way at a lot of programs, especially when football is king, when football pays all the bills. And be honest, I think David was a little generous with how much success Bama has actually had at basketball when he was talking about it, saying decent. I think that might be a little bit of a stretch for me. But
never a Final Four, a couple of 8s.
Yeah, I mean, a good year here and there, once every 10, 15 years type of program. But when football is that big at Bama, it's almost shocking that basketball season ever actually starts.
I keep my rolling top 20 in college basketball and top 20 in college football, and I do it from 1972 because that's when true, real integration was starting to take hold. It was a little late at some places, particularly in SEC, even 72, and that was the first year of freshman eligibility. I go through my top 20. I have the Tigers like just on the outside looking in, like at 21, 22 or so. I have Arkansas all time at 15, 16 or so, somewhere in that neighborhood. It can bound around. I don't know that I'd have Alabama in a top 40.
I don't think you would. I don't think anybody realistically would have an Alabama that high up. I mean, top 100? Yeah, sure. I mean, you make a tournament if you probably
top 50. Yeah, they're top 50, aren't they?
Right on it. Maybe somewhere around 50. I mean,
Yeah.
I'd actually have to sit down.
Closer to 50 than to 35.
Yeah, closer to 50 than 45. So,
Yeah.
it's great what Nate Oates has been able to do at that
All right,
program.
here's a hard one. I got a hard one.
Okay.
For you. 2 ultimate football schools. So when I turn the page over to football, we got Alabama right up there at number 1. I have right now Notre Dame around 11 or 12 since that 72 mark. But we know since the first day of college football where they rank.
Mm-hmm.
Which one's got a better basketball all time, Bama or Notre Dame? Neither have ever won it.
No.
Notre Dame's been to a Final Four. Bama hadn't.
I guess
the
that's got to
last
be
Final Four for Notre Dame was 78.
One's better
Only
than
by-
0, though, right? I mean, if you're going from 72, then that's obviously got to be the tiebreaker of all time. Is
$1 million beats $0.
It really does. Yeah.
$1 beats $0. 1 cent
It does.
beats
Anything
$0.
beats zero.
So I guess Notre Dame. Yeah, I think no guess to it. I think you were right. No doubting this. At Jason's Deli, over 200 Memphis area associates in this Jason's Deli group, and they like to say wholesome food forever. It's a family thing. We're getting close, real close, back to full occupancy, full restaurants. Still need to be safe. Still need to, wash your hands, wear your mask, all that good stuff, and be careful. Jason's Deli, they were doing that before the pandemic, really ramped it up during the pandemic for all the loyal customers that they have. They appreciate so much, and I know you love that great food. I know I do, and you will too. Mesa chicken salad, chicken club salad, the nutty mixed up salad, the big chef salad, and my favorite, the taco salad. At Jason's Deli, it's all about choice. Whether you seek a gluten-free menu, vegetarian sandwiches, healthy kids meals, or if you'd like to invent your sandwich via the Build Your Own, you will be delighted at Jason's Deli. The great salad bar, over 30 items to choose from. They've been preparing it for you, getting close to being back to where you'll be able to do that. And in any of these locations like Ridgeway Road, Poplar and Highland, Olive Branch and Cordova, free ice cream for you in the restaurants. Catering anytime, anywhere, getting ready to ramp up the catering business once again. And Jason's Deli coming out of the pandemic, appreciative and thankful of you, the customer, for hanging with them during this trying 13 months. It's not over, but we know we're close to the beginning of the end. Check them out online as well at jasonsdeli.com. When we return, we talk the business of sport with our professor from Harvard, Mr. Rick Harrow. He's next on Sports Time.
Basketball has met its match. It's Sports 56 Mornings with your assist kings, Pete and Sane. Bringing you the best alley-oops of informative sports talk. Great guests, calls and texts, prize giveaways, and more.
It's happening again at Family Leisure. Don't miss out again this summer because pools are going fast. Spas in stock now, too, and they're ready for delivery. New 2021 patio furniture, state-of-the-art in stock now, and up to 20% off select sets. Swing into spring with a brand new play gym, professional installation available. The temperature's rising, and so is the service at Family Leisure. Family Leisure, I-40 and Whidden Road, where family and fun come together.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
2021 is finally here. Might I suggest we start the wonderful new year with a makeover for your beautiful house. I'm Brian Elder. I'm a roofer. I fix roofs. Don't let them tell you that it has to be replaced when all it may need is some love. 867-0303. Let me love on your roof. I've made quite the reputation over the last decade as the guy to call after the insurance company denies the claim. Overturning a claim that has gone bad is an art form where you argue county code, manufacturer specs, and details of your policy that they have to abide by. So let me see it first. If I say it's a claim, it's a claim. 867-0303. Money is free at Brian Elder Roofing with 0% financing for half a decade. I'll measure your roof from outer space and get you a quote right over the phone. 867-0303 or BrianElderRoofing.com.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
See where adventure can take you in your new Mitsubishi from Gossett Mitsubishi on the Pike. Spend less time filling up and more time getting to the people, places, and things you love with 2021 Mitsubishi Mirage G4, 41 mpg highway, $14,902 or $189 a month. Road trip ready 2021 Outlander Sport, $20,432 or $249 a month. And upscale comfort in 2020 Outlander, $21,980 or $259 a month. Not a lease, you own them. Plus, you get Mitsubishi's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. That's Gossett Mitsubishi, 1870 Covington Pike, or shop online at memphismitsubishi.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
All 75 months at 2.64, 500 military rebate. G4 MHFO 2945, MSRP 17735. Sport MUOO 8918, MSRP 24770. Outlander LZO 42400, MSRP 26630. Includes all rebates and incentives. PF 695 excludes tax title and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 3/31/21. Dealer stock only.
At First Bank Mortgage, their core purpose is to help you get to a better place. That better place may be a lower monthly payment, that vacation you thought was impossible, or getting into a home with a fenced backyard where your kids can play. To get into your better place, First Bank Mortgage makes decisions right here at home. Dedicated to helping you get to your better place, First Bank Mortgage. Call Daniel Mooney at 901-462-0145 today. NMLS 741022. Equal housing lender.
Now, more of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
Dave will be with us at 5:30 from down at the NIT on the road with the Tigers, where they are a 4-point favorite tomorrow night, installed as a 4-point favorite tomorrow night against Boise State. In the NIT, Mississippi State 2-point favorite over Richmond. North Carolina State a 1.5-point favorite over Colorado State. Louisiana Tech a 1-point favorite over Western Kentucky. And the Tigers, if they win, they would get the winner of Louisiana Tech and Western Kentucky. And Drew, it would guarantee 2 games because there will be, throwback to the 70s, a consolation game in the Dallas NIT.
I mean, I guess since they had to kind of cut the field in half, you did lose a game, but do we really need a third-place game? I mean, is anybody hanging a banner for
Bring your own motivation.
Third place in the NIT? I mean, goodness gracious. I thought they were stupid when y'all used to do it in the NCAA tournament, and I think it's even more stupid now for the NIT.
Drew, you almost say that like I was in charge of it, like I led the third place.
Were at some point.
I feel blame me.
I feel like at some point you really loved the third place game.
No, I do love a tie. I don't mind a tie. No, I did not love a tie, but I didn't mind a tie in college football. But no third place game for me. The NCAA tournament, the last third place game they had was 1981, March 30th, 1981, famous for a lot of things. That afternoon, President Ronald Reagan was shot outside the Washington Hilton and even was reported as having perished, as having died from the assailant by ABC and Frank Reynolds that afternoon. It was wrong. It was in the fog of immediate reporting, and those things happen, but I think you got to get to whether the president's living or dying, right?
Yeah.
Even
that's
then,
when you can't really screw up.
No, you don't really want to miss on that one. I mean, one of the great announcers ever and one of the great calls ever, John Ward, he blew the call up at the big comeback at Notre Dame. He called it good when it had been blocked by Jeremy Lincoln's rear end. So it happens. But that afternoon, LSU played and lost to Virginia. And then later that night, Indiana and Bobby Knight and Isaiah Thomas, they won over North Carolina in the national championship game. And that was the end of it. The next year, the TV contract went to CBS as well. And CBS wanted nothing to interfere an overtime situation and really get into their window. And they wanted the court. They wanted the court for pregame interviews in pomp and circumstance and ceremony. And it had really just it had ran its course. And Dale Brown went on a screed, and he was right. He goes, "You mean to tell me I fight my life, my rear end off, and fight all my life to get to a Final Four, and I end my season on a 2-game losing streak?"
It makes absolutely no sense, and he's exactly right. And I think CBS was right to get rid of it because like you said before, bring your own motivation. What does it really matter? I mean, when you look up at banners, you only see Final Four. I don't know if anybody has a third place banner in college basketball. So does it really matter whether you finish third or fourth? You still reach the Final Four, still a great season. And for this year with the NIT, the crazy thing that's even crazier to me is that the championship game is first. The third place game is after the championship game.
Okay, that is different.
That don't make any sense. Yes.
I didn't know that. The NIT stayed with a consolation game for a long time until just a few years ago, and I think the first year they didn't have a consolation game was the year that Ole Miss would have been in it. They lost in the semis because, remember, David Kellum lost his mom that March, and Eli Savoy had to jump in and pinch hit and get to New York and did that game from the Garden in the loss. And cause I'm almost certain I remember texting him and said, well, darn, you only got one game, and you used to would have gotten a conso game. And that was just a few years ago. That's like 2011, because I was texting with David earlier about him losing his mom that March. And so I remember, well, I think that was 2011 when Ole Miss was up there, and because Eli had to go up there and do the game. Drew, but I've told you before, I can go even crazier how we used to do it. We had consolation games down bracket. Like in 73 when the Tigers went to the Final Four. Of course, there was the consolation game that year between Providence and Indiana, and I don't have a clue who won that game. I should know that. I don't. But that year, the Tigers beat Beau Lamar and Southwest Louisiana, now Louisiana Lafayette, early, and then they beat South Carolina with Kevin Joyce and Mike Dunleavy and Brian Winters and a good crew. I want to say South Carolina and Lou Lafayette played a consolation game down bracket down there in Houston. When the Tigers advanced to Kansas State, they kept playing.
Why? I mean, I want to understand. Please help me wrap my mind around why it matters who's 6th or 7th when no banners ever say it, and you don't really acknowledge it going back to history. I've never seen anybody's media guide going to 1970,
we were 6th.
1974 saying 6th place team in the country that year, because it doesn't matter. I mean, there's only 4 numbers in college basketball that matter. There's 16, 8, 4, and 2. That's it.
Yeah.
Those are the only 4 numbers that really matter.
I think
nobody cares about
matters.
32. It matters, but
I think denoting a year you were in matters.
Yeah, but at some point, it's not. It can't be enough. I mean, yes, I love the fact that they have all the banners at FedEx Forum, but here in a few years, you're going to obviously, hopefully, with success of Penny and the Tigers program. In the future, you're going to run out of space. You're going to run out of places to hang those banners. So you got to get to the point where we only hang banners that matter. And I think that's what separates the blue blood programs to the good and great programs is Duke ain't hanging no round of 32 banner.
I think I'm right on this. I don't think UCLA hangs anything other than winning it. I know they won't hang NIT, but I don't think they will even hang appeared in 1984 or whatever. Our friend Frank Murtaugh at the Memphis Flyer, he has been consistent through the years. And I think I mostly agree with him, and it brings up a touchy subject with, in the third year of Coach Hardaway and the Tigers in the NIT. He thinks tear those NIT banners down and never hang another one at FedEx Forum for the Tigers.
I'd be perfectly fine with it. It does kind of look weird. Maybe hang the early ones back when the NIT was on par with
when you establish your program.
When it was on par with the NCAA tournament. But anything past that, you're exactly right. You shouldn't really celebrate being the best, the first loser. I mean, that's basically what you're celebrating, is that even if you won the NIT, it's still okay.
And I'm arguing a little both sides here. Okay. I'm pretty much literally, so I think the scoreboard really matters. But I don't want to diminish what the Tiger, that was a good win against Dayton. Dayton would have been a team that could have gone for it last year, and it lost Obi Toppin and lost a lot of those pieces. But that was a good win last week. And I know you're going to be pulling hard tomorrow night because the Tigers are playing in ping pong. You're for it, and many of our listeners are for it. But that's the real conundrum of the NIT. When you're in it and you're advancing, it really salves the wound. But once you lose, that feeling of, dang, you just lost an NIT. It hits.
It almost feels worse than not playing at all, just due to the fact that every year, especially at a program like Memphis, you have your eyes set on the NCAA tournament and on making it to the second weekend and hopefully further. And with the NIT and going back to the banners, and some people might be like, well, those banners are for those players on those teams and all the hard work they put in to even get to the NIT.
That's true.
But then again, in 30 to 50 years is Malcolm Dandridge bringing his grandson to the FedEx Forum, pointing at that NIT banner and saying, we did something special. Is that really going to be the lasting memory that he would want to?
Yeah.
Nobody's going to talk about an NIT run of a team unless it springboards into something like we saw in the early 2000s in Calipari's early tenure.
All right, with that, and you know how much I love the bowls, and you do too.
I do.
And I've been to my share of not as glamorous as other bowls, and I've had a good time at those. Do you celebrate that? Do you celebrate? I mean, I've said many times, 2012 Birmingham Bowl at Ole Miss was so much fun because it felt like after losing to Jacksonville State on opening day of 2010, they may never win another game again, much less ever go to another bowl game. 10 was terrible. 11 was terrible. 12 ended well with winning the Egg Bowl, going to Birmingham, playing well against Pitt, and knowing that the next few years was going to be a lot of fun. Now, some things went with it, but those years still were a lot of fun.
Can't take away the memories.
You can't take my Sugar Bowl from me. You can't take my New Year's Eve midnight striking on Bourbon Street. But it was the Birmingham Bowl. I mean, come on. But I had a blast. I had a blast with my family, the game. How important is that? How important is a Bahamas Bowl?
Well, I think it just kind of goes to a lot of things in life. It's not always black and white. It's not as always clear cut. It just depends on what that meant for your program. I guess the Birmingham Bowl at that time meant a lot for the Ole Miss program. That NIT runner-up for championship for John Calipari and the Tigers at the time.
Good point.
Meant something. It did because of what was to follow, and it can't. While you want everything to be black and white, it's either this or it's that. It's just not. It just really depends on, in the length of time through your program, how much did it mean going forward? I mean, if that Birmingham Bowl had happened for Ole Miss and then nothing else had happened afterwards, was it really that important? Was it really that meaningful?
Yeah. And I, having never had children, I've heard people say this, with children sometimes, a particular child, anything other than A work, they're disappointed, you're disappointed, and everybody's in trouble. But you might have a child that's that B student. When they make A, you celebrate it, but they make a B, okay. That's okay. And you can accept it. And this year, I don't think people were expecting for Tiger basketball. I don't think they were expecting NIT this year. I think I know I said last year, this better be the last year I'm looking at NIT bracketology.
You did say that, and I think that's the way a lot of people felt when looking at, yes, maybe this recruiting class and the transfers in Landers Nolly and DeAndre Williams maybe weren't up to the splash that was James Wiseman, Lester Quinones, Boogie Ellis of the year before with those expectations. But I think once you knew what you had going into this year, knew what type of players Landers Nolly was going to be, hearing the hype that Penny Hardaway was giving DeAndre Williams, saying that once he's on the court, he's going to be the best player on this team, that the expectations, they rise, and especially in year 3, year 7 now without making the tournament, it's getting frustrating, and wanting to make that extra leap and to get back into the tournament. I don't think anybody was shouting Final Four or bust, but I think they were shouting tournament or bust.
Yeah, and no, extraneous pressure on Coach Hardaway. I think he's had a lot of successes in his tenure at the University of Memphis. No doubt, the revitalization, the reinvigoration of the passion for Tiger basketball. Now, this year was a big exception for everyone around COVID, but next year, I'm not saying NCAA tournament or bust even next year because a lot of things can happen, but I hope this is the last year that I've gone to NIT bracketology. I know this. When we get back into NCAA tournament games on Westwood 1, we want to thank Mid-South Hobbies, Guns and Ammo, Crab Kings, Wolf Chase Nissan, and Mario's Pools. They brought you all the coverage for the NCAA tournament, brought to you by Westwood 1 all last weekend and into Monday, and back at it this week when we get back into Saturday, Sunday, Monday night and Tuesday night games. No more interruption of regular WHBQ programming, but we sure appreciate Mid-South Hobbies, Crab Kings, Guns and Ammo, Wolf Chase Nissan, and Mario's Pools. When we come back, we talk the Grizzlies. 20 up, 20 down. Can they get to 1 over 500? That's up next on Sports.
Get happy with Sports 56 Happy Hour with Johnny Radio. Weekday afternoons from 1 to 3 on Sports 56, 98.5, and 96.1.
Golfers, tee it up this year at Edwin Watts Golf Shops with the hottest new arrivals from TaylorMade. Introducing the new Sim 2 drivers, featuring a forged ring construction, unlocking a new dimension of distance and optimal forgiveness. Now with 3 drivers to fit any golfer's needs. Swing by Edwin Watts Golf Shops and get custom fit today. Edwin Watts Golf Shops, home of the 90-day satisfaction guarantee, and shop us online at worldwidegolfshops.com.
They've raised the bar again at Homer Skelton Hyundai and Genesis of Olive Branch. I like to say this is the new standard, the way car business should be done. And to prove it, out of 355 dealers in America that sell Genesis cars, the one in Olive Branch, Genesis of Olive Branch, was top 50 in the country, top 10 in the region, and number 2 in the district. And guess what? They want to be number 1. That means there are opportunities out there for you. It's the safest, and every new latest bit of technology that makes the experience of driving a car better, they've got it at Genesis of Olive Branch. If we start with the G70, the highest performing car I've ever owned, all the way to the G80 or the G90, the biggest of the sedans, you'll love everything about the car. If you would like to try the new SUV, the GV80, you call Vinny Gerard at 662-890-6684. He will bring it out to you.
Do you know one of the best things you can do for your employees or family's health? Provide Arctic Clear bottled water. Arctic Clear bottled water is your locally owned and operated bottled water provider. Arctic Clear is 100% natural spring water with free delivery and setup, dependable service, and no long-term contracts. What an easy choice. Call Jeff Manus today, 901-382-2363, or visit arctic-clear.com. Arctic Clear bottled water. Call now, 382-2363. That's 382-2363.
Need to sell your home? You're in luck because I buy houses. All you have to do is call Bill at 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. Grab that pin, 901-406-1101, or just save it in your phone. Bill at I Buy Houses. I Buy Houses buys houses in any area, in any condition, at any time, as simple as that. I Buy Houses is guaranteed to close in 5 days. So if you need your cash fast, just call Bill at I Buy Houses, 901-406-1101. Has your house been on the market? Were you just tired of renters? Or is it just time to start over? Well, avoid repairing, cleaning, painting, and prepping your house. Just pick up the phone and call Bill at 901-406-1101. That's Bill at I Buy Houses. If you're in Southwind, South Memphis, North Mississippi, North Memphis, Collierville, if you can hear this, just call my friend Bill at I Buy Houses, 901-406-1101.
This story is called The Ugly Truth About Timeshare. If you think you've done your family a favor by buying a timeshare, you need my help. Hello, I'm Chuck McDowell, CEO and founder of Wesley Financial Group. 10 years ago, I started helping folks cancel their timeshare contracts, and in the process started what's now called the timeshare cancellation industry. Timeshare is the only thing that you can buy that you can't tell me how much it's going to cost or when it's going to end. When you buy a timeshare, you give them a blank check to fill out any amount they want for annual maintenance and assessment fees. Sound crazy? The crazy thing is, this never ends. Stop the insanity today. Call my office now. I guarantee if we can't cancel your timeshare contract, you'll pay nothing.
Were you lied to when buying a timeshare and want out? Get the facts about timeshare cancellation. Call Wesley now for your free information kit. 800-384-7878. 800-384-7878. 800-384-7878.
I'm here with the great Pat Donahue from the Rendezvous Restaurant Shipping Department.
Thanks, Brett. We've been shipping our ribs all over the country now for decades from our USDA-inspected shipping kitchen in the Pinch District. We hand-cook our ribs in pits that Mr. Charlie built over charcoal, just like they do at the restaurant.
So what comes in a rib box?
We could do pork shoulder, we could do ribs, our sauce, seasoning, baked beans, coleslaw. We'll even throw in Pancho's cheese dip with our nacho boxes. We also put a bag of Rendezvous seasoned popcorn, heating instructions, some chef hats, some wet naps, and some other helpful tips from our kitchen. We ship our ribs overnight, exclusively FedEx. And we put them in nice packaging. We don't ever want to use styrofoam, so we use corrugated cardboard, actually 2 boxes that fit nice together. So the ribs get to you, your loved ones, or your clients in a safe, wholesome manner. Rendezvous ribs are perfect for out-of-town clients, customers, loved ones. We also ship ribs for any occasion.
Where do we order these great ribs?
You can go to www.hogsfly.com or give us a call at 1-888-464-7359.
Charlie Burgos' Rendezvous Restaurant in the alley since 1948.
Now, more of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
I'm very sorry we couldn't hook up with Rick Harrell. We will certainly try to catch up with him next week, as there's a lot of business of sport that I really want to discuss with him, including the big TV rating numbers so far for the NCAA tournament, much needed. They always are, and also the gigantic number for the new TV deal in the NFL. It is an astounding number. I mean, just numbers that don't even sound real. It sounds like
they're made up.
The Pentagon budget to build AWACS or something. I mean, it's not even real, and a weapon system you can't imagine. But that's the NFL. The NBA, they're talking big TV numbers next time, and that's good for Memphis. That's good for the NBA, but not so good for the Memphis Grizzlies. This road trip that they start tonight in Oklahoma City, then 2 in Utah, 1 in Houston before coming home to face Utah, and then a little bit of a breather against the Minnesota Timberwolves before they would embark again on another 4-gamer. Drew, I think a big, big note of job well done for the NBA. I think I'm right in this. Not a game postponed since February 28th.
Wow, that's incredible. I can't.
And they did it quietly, didn't they?
Yeah, they really did. The more that I think about it, I can't remember. If you'd asked me before telling me the date, when was the last time that they canceled a game, I would have honestly said somewhere around January, late January, because it just once a few got canceled, it kind of lost its newsworthiness, I guess, and I didn't even realize that we had one in February. So the NBA has done a great job of trudging through this COVID-19 and everything.
Recalibrating everything. I mean, we're on that road, and the NBA has played its role, with the right back at it after the season ended. Especially those guys that go to the Olympics, whenever this season ends, I mean, to the vacation spot and unplugging for a while.
Oh yeah, everybody's headed to Cancun and the Bahamas and everywhere else tropical that those guys like to go. And honestly, I think that just due to the fact of all the ups and downs of this season that we've already seen, that we're just now barely halfway through, I'm kind of concerned of what kind of product the United States is going to put out on the Olympic team. I think we're going to see a lot of guys.
Well, it won't be dream team.
No, but I think even some of the guys that we're so used to seeing out there, like a guy like LeBron, might decide to pass. Well, now obviously with the injury right now, so it'd probably be best for him not to risk anything.
He shouldn't get crushed, should he?
No. I don't think anybody should really get crushed for deciding to skip the Olympics this year, just of everything that's gone on, and we're still
for any country, not just being
for any
United States. Jingo, I mean, for any country, if you've had enough, that's okay. For any sport, for any discipline, for the fear of travel, for being in Tokyo, it does look like the Olympics will go on. But the Grizzlies tonight, 20 up, 20 down. Almost have to have this one on this. The first one and the last one on this first 4-game road. Oklahoma City and Houston, and then those two in Salt Lake City. Just whatever happens, happens.
Yeah, those two are up in the air if you lose those. But especially the way Oklahoma City's playing right now, and Houston, who, goodness gracious, I feel so sorry for Steve Silas in his first year at Houston with everything they've gone through. I mean, could not be a worse first year for a head coach in the National Basketball Association. But, yeah, you got to get those two easily. And for any type of push to maybe get out of the talk of the play-in game, maybe need a split with Utah.
He's Drew Barrett. I'm Brett Norsworthy, producing is Skylar Oliver today, and we have 1 hour to go on this Wednesday afternoon. And during college basketball, you know how hour number 3 at 5 o'clock starts. It starts with the Hall of Famer from the Sporting News, Mike DeCourcy. He's next.
General Manager of the all-new Wolf Chase Hyundai. Don't miss the Hyundai Spring Upgrade Sales Event. For the first time ever, get 0% APR for 60 months on the all-new 2021 Elantra. Drive with Hyundai Assurance, America's best 10-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty. Visit wolfchasehyundai.com. With approved credit, $1,667 per month for every $1,000 finance. Example down payment 10%. Down payment will vary based on credit rating. Offer ends 4/12/21.
2021 is finally here. Might I suggest we start the wonderful new year with a makeover for your beautiful house. I'm Brian Elder. I'm a roofer. I fix roofs. Don't let them tell you that it has to be replaced when all it may need is some love. 867-0303. Let me love on your roof. I've made quite the reputation over the last decade as the guy to call after the insurance company denies the claim. Overturning a claim that has gone bad is an art form where you argue county code, manufacturer specs, and details of your policy that they have to abide by. So let me see it first. If I say it's a claim, it's a claim. 867-0303. Money is free at Brian Elder Roofing with 0% financing for half a decade. I'll measure your roof from outer space and get you a quote right over the phone. 867-0303 or BrianElderRoofing.com.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Make your next grill your last with Big Green Egg. Smoke, bake, roast, sear, and grill, all with a lifetime warranty. Ceramic will not rust, but will provide the best radiant heat, keeping your food crisp on the outside and juicy on the inside. Step your flavor up with 100% natural lumpwood charcoal. Never have to add charcoal or wood during a cook again, and save money by reusing Big Green Egg lumpwood charcoal. Enjoy the versatility of keeping cook temperatures below 200 or above 700 for searing, and anywhere in between with ease. The Big Green Egg is ready to cook in only 10 to 15 minutes. Just ask Big Green Egg users how great the food is. Satisfaction has been our recipe for success since 1974, and our customers are our biggest testament. Come taste the difference with Big Green Egg and make your next grill your last. Available at East Memphis Ace at the corner of South White Station Road and Quince Road.
Got new car fever for a new ride? We got it covered at Gossett Kia on Covington Pike. How about a new car for less than $5 a day? 2021 Kia Forte, $135 a month lease. Get next level versatility in 2021 Kia Soul, $149 a month lease. And fall in love with driving again in 2021 Kia K5, $179 a month lease. All 36 months with $31.49 due at signing, and they all come with Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. So get your Kia on at Gossett Kia 19 1600 Covington Pike, or online at KiaCovingtonPike.com. Ask for Bobby J. He'll put you in a new Kia today.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
All 36-month leases, $31.49 due at signing, 0 security deposit, $650 acquisition fee, 10,000 miles per year, 20 cents excess mileage, Forte, NE 319, 491, MSRP 20,625, sold, M77, 5597, MSRP 20,660, K5, MG 5560, MSRP 25,725, includes all manufacturer rebates and incentives, PF 695, excludes tax title and license with approved credit, warranty is a limited powertrain warranty, see Kia.com or retailer for details, offer valid through 3/31/21, dealer stock only.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis, W253DF Memphis, and WIVG Tunica Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Welcome back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wallo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brett Norsworthy.
We will visit with Dave at 5:30 from down in Dallas with the Tigers on the road in the NIT facing Boise State tomorrow night. And then if they win, guaranteed of 2 more games with the finals of the NIT and the Constellation. Mike DeCourcy from the Sporting News joins us on Wednesday. We will visit with him after I tell you about the title sponsor of this hour. And that's our friends on Goodman Road at DeSoto Auto Sales at 5704 Goodman Road. Come on down to DeSoto County. They're very proud to serve DeSoto County and the surrounding area. And all the cars, test-driven, all checked out, bumper to bumper, unlimited inventory, every make, every model. If they don't have it on the lot at DeSoto Auto Sales, tell them what you want, and they'll go out and find it for you. No shortcuts taken at DeSoto Auto Sales, where you walk in and you're treated like family by very kind, very courteous employees, laid-back atmosphere, no high-pressure sales, but they do care about your time. And at DeSoto Auto Sales, they want you to enjoy the ultimate car experience because they know we live in a world today that time really matters. You test drive that car, get credit approved, paperwork completed, and you're gone in 45 minutes or less in time to do it over your busy lunch hour, or like right now with a lot of sunshine left this afternoon, you only need about 45 minutes at DeSoto Auto Sales to be in your new car. It's that simple. Visit them online at DeSotoAutosales.com or go down to 5704 Goodman Road, 662-890-7184. Come on down to DeSoto County for that town and country experience at DeSoto Auto Sales. We needed last week. We got it in just really spectacular style from the NCAA. I don't want to rank it, but I know this. After not having anything last year, last weekend was something to behold, really starting with the first 4 games all the way through Monday night's action. And to talk about it with us from the Sporting News, Mike DeCourcy. Mike, college basketball really had a fine moment, and the ratings have shown it.
Well, that's obviously great to hear. It remains a very special event. And, the one thing that I think is lost about the last year in sports is that for all the weeks we lost, I mean, we had basically no events at all for 2 months. And I'm talking about like in the entire world practically. And we had German soccer return sometime in mid to late May last year, and we didn't have the NBA back on the floor until the end of July, and baseball started the beginning of August, and the NHL started then. The NWSL did, I think, play in June. So, I mean, we had a lot of time with very little sports or none at all. But the one thing that I think is lost is the fact that of all the really high-profile sports we have, WNBA, NBA, NHL, MLB, MLS, college football, and NCAA basketball, the only ones that lost a championship season were the NCAA men's and women's tournaments. They're the only ones. Everybody else crowned a champion. In the NWSL, it was for a short, tournament season, but at least somebody held up a trophy. Major League Baseball, a fraction of what an ordinary season would be, but the Dodgers aren't giving that thing back. And everybody got to have it except college basketball. They were the ones who took it hardest in the world of sports. So to have it restored back onto the stage in the last couple of weeks in the conference tournaments, and then last weekend in March Madness was wonderful to behold.
You're exactly right, Mike. I mean, going back to last summer, when you basically had nothing going on. I watched a lot of ACL. For those who don't know, that's American Cornhole League. And big shout out to my boy Jay Rubin. I followed his career for a good month on the ACL circuit. So if you want to get into cornhole, Mike, I suggest you look him up. But with college basketball and it's returning, and we finally feel like we're getting to normal, the VCU situation happened. How worried were you that wasn't going to be the only team that fell?
I wasn't super worried about it. You always have concern that it could happen, but they have worked really hard to bubble this, and it has had its toll. I mean, I think there are teams that have been frustrated, and it's especially hard because I think, especially for the college guys, they're used to having roommates, they're used to having people around. They don't spend a lot of time alone, and so that's part of the deal. Is that they don't. If one player gets it, they don't want them to be in the same room with another, and so they're trying to keep it isolated to that extent. If anybody did, so everybody's got their own room. So there are players who are much more solitary than they're accustomed to being. I mean, that's not a normal circumstance for them. A lot of them will live in dorms with a roommate, and many of them will live in houses with 4 or 5 different teammates. There's always a lot of people around, and they can be as isolated as they want to be when they need to be, and they can go to their bedroom and read or study or whatever. But if they want to be around people, go downstairs, and that's where the Xbox is or whatever. Or that's where Duke and Carolina are playing. And so they're always around people. And now it's like the isolation is hard on them. But it also is wise, and I think it's why. I mean, we've had more than 50 games played in this tournament. And there are 67 that have to be played to have a typical tournament and a champion. And we've gotten through eliminating 36 teams already. And we're down to 16, and we need to play, another 13 games, I think, to something like that, to get to a champion. And so, to only lose one in that environment is pretty exceptional. It's not perfect. Perfect would be what you were shooting for, but in a season in which there were many interruptions on even on significant teams. Not just, people that didn't have resources or whatever, but, a lot of the highest profile teams and leagues that had lots of resources, all of that, to have all those disruptions and then only have one team that had to exit because of that circumstance. I think you have to feel at least, better good than bad about it.
And Mike, I think you properly should be very proud of where you call home right now. You and Debbie call Indianapolis home. Tell us what it feels like in Indianapolis, and I think an A+ letter grade to Indianapolis and to the NCAA that is so easy to knock around, and they deserve it in a lot of cases, including some last week. But in this instance, on hosting the men's tournament in Indianapolis, I think A+ marks.
I think they've done really well. They had a great plan. Remember, I think that people forget this as well, that when they come to Memphis, say, you put a regional in Memphis or a first-round site in Memphis, you get that news 2-3 years in advance, so the planning starts then. And so it doesn't necessarily start at a consuming level, but you're working on little things to get them done and get them ready, and then ultimately, the closer you get, the more consuming it gets. But it's a multi-year plan and process to get it all together, and you have lots of people working on it. And there are people like at, say, the FedEx Forum who are when they get such an assignment, that becomes a part of their job, and that's on their daily to-do list or monthly to-do list or whatever. Well, in this case, you had to turn around a 60-18 tournament at I think 6 different sites across basically 120 miles, and all of that in 3 months. And I mean, I don't know that people properly appreciate how challenging that is. And I think that based on what I've seen over the last week in terms of how of how various elements have been treated. I know that a lot of people don't appreciate the challenge of accomplishing what they have to this point.
Yeah, they have accomplished a lot, but some things have come out, like Brett was alluding to, especially last week when the difference between the men's and women's NCAA tournament, whether it's the weight room, it's the food, it's the goodie bags that the athletes receive when they enter their respective bubbles. Has it always been that big of a difference between the treatment of the athletes between the tournaments, or did the NCAA just simply drop the ball this year?
I have to be honest with you. I don't know. I really don't know much about the women's tournament. I will watch some. The fact that it is played at the time that it's played makes it really a challenge for everyone who follows the men's tournament or who is assigned to follow the men's tournament. And that's my job. It makes it really hard to be as invested in the women's tournament. No matter how much I enjoy the women's game, it's hard. And I'm not using that as an excuse for whatever happened in San Antonio. It's just I don't have a knowledge base at
There's
all
so much
on
time.
what happens in the women's tournament.
Yeah,
I really don't.
There's only one Mike DeCourcy.
So I can't say whether what happened in San Antonio was typical. I can say that what happened was a massive failure of planning. I'm sure that they took, that they were trying to get other things done, and then somebody completely whiffed on that. And I think that needs to be addressed. That they have to figure out why did this happen, and it can't happen again. We have to be equitable when we're running these tournaments. And honestly, I had never heard anything in the past at all about the women's tournament not being sufficient, and not being exceptional. I mean, I know that they had the Final Four here in Indy, and now they don't take it to Lucas Oil Stadium because the crowds don't fill up 60,000-70,000 for the women's tournament, but they had it at Bankers Life Fieldhouse, which is A+ arena, one of the best in America in terms of as a venue to play basketball. And I know that that when you go to Bankers Life, you're getting treated at an A+ level while you're there. That's all I can speak of, because I know the Bankers Life people really well, and they are stars. And so having it here, I know that they got treated well when they were here. But I don't know, the first round, second round regionals. I don't know how those go. I don't know I didn't even know anybody got swag bags in basketball. I didn't know. I mean, I knew that I knew that you got lots in football at the bowl games, but I didn't know that they gave them in men's and women's basketball. I never really paid much of attention to it. I'd never heard anybody call attention to it before.
Michael, on that preparation front in the years in advance to get ready for it, I don't remember the year, but one year, it was the year before Memphis the University of Memphis would host, and I know you remember the late, lovable, great Eddie Cantler, and he was kind of the athletics director, point person for hosting the next year. So it was the year before, and I'm somewhere, and I run into Eddie, and he had a 3-ring binder that I promise you was as thick as the New York City phone book on hosting protocol, hosting procedures. Yeah. And I said, Eddie, real quick, tell me everything's in that 3-ring binder. Quick, go. And he said, I've been wagging this thing around 6 months. I got a year to learn it all, Brett. I'll get to it next year. But you're right, for Indianapolis to have that turnaround, and I'll never forget Eddie telling me that. All right, I think there are a lot of teams that are, well, all 16 are really glad to be where they are. Some unlikely, like Oral Roberts. Some very likely, like Gonzaga and Baylor. How likely was Syracuse? This is one of Jim Boeheim's good runs, isn't it?
Well, honestly, it's become a common theme. I mean, they have been a double-digit seed now 3 times since 2016, and they are 9-2 in that role. They had a first 4 win one year, and then won a couple games in the tournament. This is just what they're able to do, and it goes back to a couple of things. One is that I think that what's being missed in this tournament in terms of advancement is that it's best to be Gonzaga, right? You got like 3 All-Americans on your team, and you've got a Hall of Fame coach, and you've got a role player like Andrew Nembhard, who's who's probably going to play in the Olympics for Canada one day and was a starter in the SEC. I mean, you've got a pretty doggone good team, right? That's the best way to go. But if you don't have that, it doesn't hurt to be different. And that's why you see Loyola here. And that's why you see Oral Roberts here. And it's especially why you see Syracuse here. This happens every year. Teams get into the tournament, and they don't know how to deal with what Syracuse brings on defense. And if Syracuse's offense is running at a potent level, and right now Buddy Boeheim is shooting the basketball like he wants his dad to coach forever, that's what's happening. And so you saw one of the remarkable things about the last two runs they've had is that West Virginia on Sunday had to take Derek Culver, who was a first-team All-Big 12 player, a first-team player in one of the best leagues in the country, and put him on the bench and not use him because they couldn't find a way to make him successful against the zone.
Yeah.
Played, I think, 21 minutes. And I hope Jaron's not listening because this will just bring up bad memories. But Jaren Jackson, when they played in 2018, played 19 minutes. He's a third player taken in the draft. 3 months later, he played 19 minutes against Syracuse because they couldn't find a way to make him successful against the zone.
I think 4 points.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't think, if I remember right, because I just looked at this the other day, I don't think he made a bucket. I think those were all free throws. That's how
And I had a Grizzlies official tell me that day they were watching it. They were pretty sure they would be in line to get him. And after that day, they said, we definitely have him. This was really great for us.
So that's what happens with that zone. It's just completely – it makes you change who you are. And that's exactly what you don't want to do at this time of year. And the same thing happened with Loyola and Illinois. They had to they had to change somewhat who they were, and they resisted changing entirely who they were, and they never caught up. And the other thing about Boeheim, and this goes back to 16, is that he understands this, okay, in part because he's willing to be apart from the crowd anyway with the zone. He's not wedded to, like, I'm going down the way I came in. We're Syracuse. This is what we do. We're going to do it. In the 2016 tournament, they played Gonzaga in the Sweet 16, and they played Virginia in the Elite Eight. Now, Gonzaga wasn't super high seeded that year, but they were really good, and they had Domantas Sabonis. He was the best player on the floor, and so they play, and Gonzaga is kicking their butts. I mean, it's not even close. It's maybe 11 points, 12 points, maybe more. And it's getting around the 10-minute mark of the second half, and Gonzaga is not giving ground at all. And so Jim says, that's it. I'm not going home if I don't have to. And if I am going home, I'm at least going to go down swinging. So he put a press on. And the ball started getting turned over. And all of a sudden, there's Syracuse in the game, and there's Syracuse winning. And then the very same thing happened to Virginia. Virginia got way up. Again, I don't know the exact number, but way ahead, double digits, gets late, and not super late, enough time to still change the game, puts the press on, ball starts getting turned over, Syracuse wins that one too. And that's what a lot of coaches in this tournament miss, is that when somebody comes at you with something that you don't ordinarily see, you can't wait too long to change who you are. You can try to resist and keep pushing to be who you are for a while. If you, with what Huggs did, taking out Culver, it didn't ultimately work. And with what Izzo did, taking out Jaren, it didn't ultimately work. So maybe you were a little bit too pliable there, but you can't go down without trying to change the game. And you look at that Michigan State game. They allowed that game to be a 50-point game, and they had much better players. They allowed it to be a 50-point game. Maybe if they juice up the defense, energize it, change things up, maybe put some pressure on them, do those sorts of things. If you don't have every club in your bag when you play the NCAA tournament course, there's a chance you're going home because you don't take out your sand wedge. And that's why I've always been a believer in having multiple defenses and having the press there for late games. Because you get into March and you have to be able to do more than just what you're great at, because eventually somebody's going to have an answer for that.
Very, very true, Mike. I mean, eventually you're going to run into somebody who knows exactly how to defend you and how to score on you. So you've got to be able to mix up, but also staying kind of true to yourself, like Jim Boeheim has done. Now, Mike, with March Madness going on, this is where unfortunately a lot of people just kind of start watching college basketball, and you see a lot on social media about how great Gonzaga is, and they are, but we've all known that since November. And I've seen the discussion of, wow, this is probably the best NCAA team that I've ever seen in my entire life. And I think that's exaggerating, but would it be exaggeration to say top 25 team of all time?
Well, they have the ability to do that. I don't think you can be in that club if you don't win it. I like Vegas 91. You can be on the list of best teams never to win it. Like Vegas 91. I mean, they're probably at the top of that list. And Kentucky 15, probably up there. And
Memphis
UCLA
08.
74. I'm sorry, Memphis 08. Absolutely. I didn't mean not this time. It's you bringing up.
You're right. You're right.
But yeah, I mean, all those teams can be on that list, no question. But I don't think you can be on the best team list if you don't win it. Now, you don't have to be undefeated, but they do now. I mean, they put themselves in that circumstance. The best team that I have covered, and I've been in it since 86, 87, the best team in that period was definitely Kentucky 96. They were the best team that I covered. And so
with Antoine Walker as a freshman.
Antoine Walker, sophomore, actually.
Sophomore.
Mercer was a freshman that year. Tony Delk was a senior. 9 pros. If you look up their chart on Basketball Reference, College Basketball Reference, you see they have like a little NBA guy on their roster by each player that played in the league, and there's like 9 of them. It was an amazing team, and that was a team that could do everything. And I'll give you an example of that if you don't mind a little hoop history. After the Tigers got eliminated in Albuquerque on the first day of the tournament, John Stam said, "Why don't you fly from there to Dallas, pick up Kentucky, and then go with them the rest of the way?" And so I covered Kentucky in the Virginia Tech game, and they pressed Virginia Tech, which was a really good Virginia Tech team, playing an 8-9 game, and then played the one Kentucky, and they just squeezed the life out of them. And then they played in the Sweet 16 against Utah, and they did the exact same thing. And then they played Wake Forest in the final. And Wake Forest had really good guards. They had Rusty LaRue was one of the guards, and they weren't going to turn it over a ton because they were going to play at pace. They were in no hurry. And of course, the centerpiece of the team was Tim Duncan. And so what Rick wanted to do was say, Tim Duncan is not beating us. So he post-trapped. They just, instead of squeezing the life out of the backcourt, they had Walter McCarty, Antoine Walker, Mark Pope. Those guys were just squeezing Duncan every time he touched the ball. And they won that way. And so they had to do a lot of different things to win. And then ultimately they played Syracuse in the title game, and they had to cope with the zone. But that's why that was a great team, because they could beat you so many different ways.
And they could. Wasn't Anthony Epps part of that, Mike?
Yeah, Anthony was the point guard. And I will be honest with you, I was an Anthony Epps agnostic for a lot of that year. I just didn't think he belonged, sort of fit. And then I got to see them through those 5 games, and I started to get it. You know, he had a great leadership quality. He obviously wasn't one of the pros, but he had a real feel for how to run that team, how to lead that team. And he was terrific, and they don't win it without him. He was one of those guys that I talked to a friend who's a UCLA fan who thinks that Tiger Campbell isn't quite talented enough, and Tiger's not a great talent, but he's a winner, and they maybe aren't talented enough around him yet to be a national champion or Final Four team or whatever. We'll see over the next couple of days whether they can maybe squeeze a Final Four out of this. They're going to have to beat some really good teams to do it because they're up against Alabama and then either Michigan or Florida State. But Epps was an example that a guy like Tiger Campbell, you can win with that guy. If you have, obviously you have to have stars around him. But if you've got a point guard who leads you in the way that Tiger does UCLA, in the way that once upon a time once upon a time Kentucky was led. I think that absolutely can work. And so it's nice to have John Wall or Derrick Rose or Tyreek Evans or whomever at point. But you can win with a guy who is just a leader and a thoughtful player, and a guy who can make a shot every now and then when the ball comes back to him, even if he's not a 38% guy.
Mike DeCourcy, great stuff. Thank you so much. Next week when we visit, we will be down to 4 teams right there in Indianapolis, and we'll visit with you. It'll be great. It has been great, and we'll visit with you about it next week. Mike, enjoy, and we will talk next week. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Drew and Stats. It's always a delight.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you, Mike DeCourcy, the best, isn't he? And
100%.
You heard him. I mean, talking about 1996 like it was yesterday. I mean, just regaling us with those stories, and he has been on top of it for so long, and he does. He always really loves that 96 Kentucky team. Rick Pitino's national championship, his only national championship at UK. Look, the tournament's down to just 16 teams this year, not 1996, 2021, and if you've been watching from the sidelines, now's the time for you to get on the field. Now's your chance to get in on the action. And FanDuel Sportsbook, they can hook you up with exclusive 30-1 odds on all 16 teams left in the bracket. You can play the high-favored teams or the high-seeded teams like Gonzaga, like Baylor, or you can get out there and you can try UCLA. They're not the highly seeded team this year. New users can get 30-1 odds on any team to win their next game in this round. You can win $150 on a $5 bet. Folks, that's gambling, and that is how you play it. $5 down to win $150. All you have to do is download the FanDuel Sportsbook app and make your first deposit to unlock exclusive 30-1 odds. The app's easy to use, and when you win, you'll get paid in as little as 24 hours. It's your cash. You've won it. It's fair and square. They get it to you. Just sign up with promo code CASH so they know we sent you. That's FanDuel Sportsbook. Promo code CASH. Must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. New users only. Must wager in designated offer market. $10 first deposit required. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. For problem gambling support, call 1-800-889-9789. When we come back, we go to Dallas and visit with the voice of the Tigers and host of this show, Dave Woloshin. He's up next on Sports Time.
Same great shows.
We welcome you back to Sports 56 Middays.
What's up? It's Sports 56 Happy Hour.
A new spot on the FM dial. Check out Sports 56 on our new FM home at 98.5.
They've raised the bar again at Homer Skelton Hyundai and Genesis of Olive Branch. I like to say this is the new standard, the way car business should be done. And to prove it, out of 355 dealers in America that sell Genesis cars, the one in Olive Branch, Genesis of Olive Branch, was top 50 in the country, top 10 in the region, and number 2 in the district. And guess what? They want to be number 1. That means there are opportunities out there for you. It's the safest, and every new latest bit of technology that makes the experience of driving a car better, they've got it at Genesis of Olive Branch. If we start with the G70, the highest performing car I've ever owned, all the way to the G80 or the G90, the biggest of the sedans, you'll love everything about the car. If you would like to try the new SUV, the GV80, you call Vinny Gerard at 662-890-6684. He will bring it out to you.
See where adventure can take you in your new Mitsubishi from Gossett Mitsubishi on the Pike. Spend less time filling up and more time getting to the people, places, and things you love with 2021 Mitsubishi Mirage G4, 41 MPG highway, $14,902 or $189 a month. Road trip ready 2021 Outlander Sport, $20,432 or $249 a month. And upscale comfort in 2020 Outlander, $21,980 or $259 a month. Not a lease, you own them. Plus, you get Mitsubishi's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. That's Gossett Mitsubishi, 1870 Covington Pike, or shop online at memphismitsubishi.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
75 months at 2.64, 500 military rebate. G4 MHFO 2945, MSRP 17735. Sport MU00 8918, MSRP 24770. Outlander LZO 42400, MSRP 26630. Includes all rebates and incentives. PF 695. Excludes tax title and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 3/31/21. Dealer stock only.
I'm here with the great Pat Donahue from the Rendezvous Restaurant Shipping Department.
Thanks, Brett. We've been shipping our ribs all over the country now for decades from our USDA-inspected shipping kitchen in the Pinch District. We hand-cook our ribs in pits that Mr. Charlie built over charcoal, just like they do at the restaurant.
So what comes in a rib box?
We could do pork shoulder, we could do ribs, our sauce, seasoning, baked beans, coleslaw. We'll even throw in Pancho's cheese dip with our nacho boxes. We also put a bag of Rendezvous seasoned popcorn, heating instructions, some chef hats, some wet naps, and some other helpful tips from our kitchen. We ship our ribs overnight, exclusively FedEx. And we put them in nice packaging. We don't ever want to use styrofoam, so we use corrugated cardboard, actually 2 boxes that fit nice together. So the ribs get to you, your loved ones, or your clients in a safe, wholesome manner. Rendezvous ribs are perfect for out-of-town clients, customers, loved ones. We also ship ribs for any occasion.
Where do we order these great ribs?
You can go to www.hogsfly.com or give us a call at 1-888-464-7359.
Charlie Burgos' Rendezvous Restaurant in the alley since 1948.
Are you ready for March Markdown Madness? Wolf Chase Nissan's biggest ever March Markdown Madness event is happening now. Score big on our entire selection of new Nissans, certified pre-owned Nissans, and used cars in stock at Slam Dunk Savings, now for a limited time. Financing as low as 0% for well-qualified buyers with approved credit during this big event. Take your best shot at Slam Dunk Savings. You're sure to drive away a winner. WolfChaseNissan.com.
This is a job alert. If you're looking for work, this will interest you. Whether you're looking for full-time, part-time, or even something temporary if you've been recently furloughed, text 107-JOB to 49330. That's 107-JOB to 49330. Office work available now in a clean office environment with all COVID precautions taken. Text 107-JOB to 49330 and someone will be in touch about these job opportunities available now. Text 107-JOB to 49330.
The Jeep Celebration in Ram Truck Month is on at Gossett Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Fiat on the Pike, and it's time to get your adventure on. 2021 Jeep Grand Cherokee Laredo ready to ride, $27,990 or $369 a month. Power up in 2021 Dodge Charger XST, $26,990 or $356 a month. And get serious performance with 2021 Ram 1500 Quad Cab 4x2 Tradesman, over $8,500 off MSRP or $355 a month. And leave boring behind in your 2021 Fiat 500 X-Pop, $20,990 or $264 a month. So drive past the rest and come to the best. Gossett Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Fiat, 1901 Covington Pike, or shop online, GossettMotorCars.net.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
Finance through Chrysler, all 3,500 cash down, 75 months at 4.11 APR. Cherokee MC 546,501, MSRP 36,110. Charger MH 515,408, MSRP 32,860, 1,500, MS 500,496, MSRP 35,545. Pop MP 88,7786, MSRP 26,830. Includes all rebates and incentives. PF 695. Excludes tax on a license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 3/31/21. Dealer stock only.
Welcome back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wallo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brett Norsworthy.
He is the host of this show, and he is the voice of the Memphis Tigers, and his duties as voice of the Memphis Tigers takes him once again to the Dallas-Fort Worth area. He lived there once upon a time, and he's been back so often now. Dave, I hope they don't hit you up for property taxes again. You've been in DFW so much lately. How are you?
Well, I will tell you they are collecting property tax. I am amazed, honestly, at the growth. First of all, I'm getting really used to 30 West. I'm getting to know the suburbs of Little Rock. I cannot believe when you get past the little town called Rockwell, which is on the eastern part of Dallas, about 20 miles away. That's sort of the beginning of the Dallas community.
The big lake.
And so we went
to your left. Yeah.
Right, exactly. And you go a different way to go to Fort Worth. This time we went to Denton. There's one thing they all have in common. I passed, and I'm not making this up, 50 cranes. I cannot believe the explosion and the growth of this metroplex. We looked it up. Just the population of Dallas, Fort Worth, and Arlington was 5.8 million. Okay, 5.8 million.
It's a lot of
you
people.
Take into account Frisco and Denton, add another 350,000 to that. And when I lived here in '86, there was very little between Dallas and Arlington, and then Arlington to Fort Worth, there was nothing. Now, there was absolutely nothing between Dallas and Denton. Now, it's all one big metropolis. It is a megalopolis. It's huge. I can't get over the growth.
Dave, look at it like this.
Here.
Look at it like this. When you were there, and I can remember the very first time I walked into Reunion Arena, and I thought it was the Taj Mahal, the showplace of basketball arenas that I've ever set foot in. I thought Texas Stadium was the same. I never went to Valley Ranch, but it had the reputation of being the best practice area. Now, all three of those are Reunion may not be, but the other two are bulldozed. You got Jerry's World. You've got American Airlines Center. You've got the Star, and that's been in 30 years. What will the next 30 do?
Lord knows. If it's like what we just saw these last few trips here, it's just going to explode even more. It's funny that you said it because I lived in Valley Ranch, and I would do the mornings for KRLD. Then the last thing I would do was to go to the practice and do a feature for the Cowboy Radio Network that was all a part of the deal with KRLD. So I lived in Valley Ranch. At the time, Valley Ranch had a couple of houses, my apartment complex, which was brand new, a gas station with a video store. That was it. I went back a few years ago, and there's literally 100,000 people in that community now. I don't know if Valley Ranch practice facility still exists, but Texas Stadium is gone, and so is Reunion Arena. I was looking for Reunion because we passed it on the way to Fort Worth. We wanted to see if there was any remnant of it left. And I don't believe so. I think it's all gone. The only thing really left from bygone Dallas is the Cotton Bowl, and I am really glad they decided to keep that.
Yeah, and a fortune's been spent on it, and it's in better shape now than you ever can remember. But a fortune's been spent on it largely to keep Red River Shootout in it. Go ahead, Drew. I'm sorry I stepped on you.
Oh no worries. I was just gonna comment to the fact that they had a video store. I mean, it's very hard to find one of those nowadays either, too, Dave. So
they're very rare.
I mean, the Texas Stadium shouldn't feel that bad. I mean, if all the video stores are gone, it was bound to be their time too, right?
No, and in those days you had like two options. You could get Betamax or not a DVR. What was it called?
VHS?
A VCR. A VCR.
Oh,
You had two different formats that you could try to buy. Fortunately, I picked the VCR because the Betamax lasted about a year. That was it. It went out of business. And now you're right, because everything is streamed. Who would ever think of buying, going to a video store? Although I must commend the Black Lodge people because I think they do have DVDs still in there, Blu-rays.
All right, Dave, we were talking earlier, and you know, a lot of things in sports at bowl time, at postseason in college basketball. Bring your own motivation, and as long as you're in it, heck, you might as well win it. And the Tigers have a chance to advance to at least two more games. A win tomorrow night propels to two more games, a consolation game, but tomorrow night against Boise State, maybe a future conference brethren. Heck, if you're in it, might as well win the darn thing, right?
I agree. And tomorrow, it's kind of like a money game. It's a 3-for-1. If you win that one game, you will get two more for sure after, because there is, for the first time since 2003, a consolation game. And I guess they did that because ESPN wants programming, and they figured that since it was only a 16-team field, they were going to try to squeeze as many games in as they possibly could. So if you win Thursday, the semifinals are on Saturday. The Sunday championship, I believe, is at noon, and the consolation game would be at 3. And they're trying to get those games in, I guess, as early as they possibly can to avoid the crush that will be the NCAA Sweet 16 and Elite 8 that will follow. So I agree with you, although I must ask you guys, I just got a text from somebody who's an insider that says Taj Washington, the football story, for just 1 second, but it is Tigers. Taj Washington has just entered the transfer portal. And if that's the case, that's a tough loss for the U of M. I really believed that he was going to be something special in a Memphis uniform. With him on one side and Calvin Austin on the other, who could cover those two? They were so fast. I'm sure
and
that
tight
Ryan
end
Silverfield will find, either tight end. They got 4 tight ends that are going to be in the mix, and the best one, Sean Dykes, is coming back. But that you still have a bunch of wealth at that position, but that was a gem. I'm really sorry for that loss. But back to your original question about motivation, I just saw Tony Madlock. He let me know most likely we will not see Alex Lomax tomorrow. So I doubt he's really going to ever play in this NIT. I think that was a high ankle sprain. I think those things take forever to get better. We were told the other day that he could move straight forward and back quite well, but he just could not cut laterally. Well, if you can't cut laterally in the game of basketball, you're not going to go very far. So he's not playing tomorrow, and I would doubt that he would play the rest of this tournament, but it's almost certain for sure that tomorrow he will not be a part of the mix. But he said, Tony Madlock told me today, they had a fabulous practice today. They want to win this thing. They want to stick around till Sunday. I've driven all the way down till Sunday, packed for Sunday, so let's hope for the best.
Yes, Dave, definitely want to win. I mean, always take more Tiger basketball games than less, and hopefully they make it all the way to that championship and ultimately win it. Me and Brett had this conversation earlier discussing banners and how much seasons really mean. Let's say the Tigers unfortunately did go out tomorrow and lose to Boise State. How important would it be to you, and do you think to a lot of people, for another NIT banner to hang at FedEx Forum, where I already think we have too many?
I don't think fans really look at NIT banners. I think they might have in the 50s and the 60s. But since the relevance of the NIT became that, or the prestige is maybe a better term, became that of a nice tournament for those that couldn't make the big one. And that's what this is. This is a second chance at some redemption, but it's not glory. And banners are for glory, in my estimation. Memphis won the NIT in 2002. John Calipari declared it a national championship. It was the first one Memphis ever had, and only one Memphis ever had in basketball. And, if John wanted to sell the program that way, it was okay, because it really was the stepping board for a lot of greatness, including that Final Four in 2008. If this wants to be used that way, as a springboard to a really solid program that makes NCAAs and Sweet 16s and Elite Eights and Final Fours, I'm happy with that. But am I going to be disappointed if they, let's say, were to win and then lose in the semifinal? No, I'm not going to be incredibly disappointed if they lose in this quarterfinal game. They've come, they've played. It's really hard to motivate yourself to play in these tournaments. I'm not in their locker room. I do think that Tony Madlock was telling me the truth, that they want to stay, and so they'll play hard. They sure looked that way in the second half against State.
Sure
if you'd asked me in the first half, I would have said, ooh, I don't know. The way their rotations on defense are, I'm really not sure they're into it. Then they turned it around in the second half. They played beautifully. And, of course, they won going away. And if they play that way and they play with that kind of intensity, they're a 4.5-point favorite, I think they will beat Boise. But even if they beat Boise and they get in the semifinals and you fall the next time, this is not like heartbreak in the NCAA. It's not like the heartbreak of losing in the AAC or losing on that Sunday in Houston when you had a chance to win the game and Mark hit that incredible three-pointer. Mm-hmm. This is just not in the same sort of emotional strata.
Yeah, and Dave, you're right. If this is a springboard, that whatever banner that will or won't go up at FedEx Forum, if a year from today the Tigers are in the Sweet 16, then this NIT experience looks a heck of a lot better and will be appreciated a lot more. Dave Woloshin on the road with the Tigers in Dallas. We're going to break here momentarily, and we'll come back with Taco Bell Crunch Time. Dave will stay with us, get Crunch Time started, and then we'll visit with Dave again tomorrow at 5:30 on game day for the Tigers in Boise State. Summer road trips, they're on the way. If you're ready for a new Chevy, All-Star Chevy in Olive Branch is where you want to be. New Chevy Traverses with third-row seating, Equinox, Blazers, thousands in cash back, financing as low as zero for 72 months. The almost famous All-Star Chevy demo sale, it's on. Demos by the dozen. If it's a Chevy car, truck, or SUV you want to sell, bring it to All-Star Chevy with the title and you'll get a check written to you today. They'll beat any legitimate offer, any 2015 to 2021 with less than 75,000 miles and clear title, and yes, you'll get your check that same day. The Chevy Certified Pre-Owned lot, it's full. Tahoes, Yukon, Suburban, Silverados, many, many more. Remember, it's not Mount Moriah, it's not Collierville, it's not Covenant Pike, it's not South Haven, it's got to be Olive Branch. Everyone at All-Star with one job. Make sure you have fun, get the best deal, and do it all in record time. All-Star Chevy in Olive Branch is the place to go to sell your vehicle. Ask for Jeff Brooks and tell him Sports 56 sent you. On Kraft Goodman Road in Olive Branch, find new roads to All-Star Chevy or go to allstarautogroup.com. We break, and when we come back, we wrap up this Wednesday afternoon with Taco Bell Crunch Time. You're listening to Sports Time.
I'm Superfly TNT.
Johnny Radio.
Where do you want to be? 1 to 3? Right here with me. Sports 56, 98.5, 96.1 FM, Monday through Friday. This is Sports 56 Happy Hour, your good buddy Johnny Radio.
It's happening again at Family Leisure. Don't miss out again this summer because pools are going fast. Spas in stock now, too, and they're ready for delivery. New 2021 patio furniture, state-of-the-art in stock now, and up to 20% off select sets. Swing into spring with a brand new play gym, professional installation available. The temperature's rising, and so is the service at Family Leisure. Family Leisure, I-40 and Whidden Road, where family and fun come together.
I want to do some bragging rights. Hey, I was just the other day overhearing a conversation with Big Mike, the manager of DeSoto Auto Sales. They've got people buying cars all over the country. North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, Arkansas, Texas. People from all over the country buy cars at DeSoto Auto Sales in Olive Branch, Mississippi. Why? DeSoto Auto Sales has the most stringent car inspection in America. They get it right the first time. Quality and low mileage, factory warranty on most vehicles. My favorite part is the people who work there. Big Mike, all the employees are professional, friendly, and go that extra mile. Expect as you walk in the door, you're treated like family. DeSoto Auto Sales understands your time matters. We can help you find your dream car and get all the paperwork finished in less than an hour. Come see us at DeSoto Auto Sales and be part of our family. Have a great buying experience every time. 662-890-7184. Hey, if you're hungry for great Mexican food for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, got it. La Guadalupana, La Guadalupana, Guadalupana. Choose from tacos, burritos, enchiladas, sizzling shrimp, beef or chicken fajitas, and even a Cuban sandwich filled with Mexican sausage, chicken, ham, steak, jalapenos, avocado. Add a nice cold beer to your super nachos. Top with melted cheese, beans, sour cream, guacamole, tomato, and jalapenos. Great prices, generous portions, great service at 3 locations, Summer Avenue, Cordova Road in Winchester, La Guadalupana.
Hi, I'm Hayden Moore, General Manager of the all-new Wolf Chase Hyundai. Don't miss the Hyundai Spring Upgrade Sales Event. For the first time ever, get 1.9% APR for 60 months or 2.9% for 72 months on new 2021 Palisades. Drive with Hyundai Assurance, America's best 10-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty. Visit wolfchasehyundai.com. With approved credit, $1,748 and $1,515 per month, respectively, for every $1,000 finance. Example down payment, 10%. Down payment will vary based on credit rating. Offer ends 4/12/21.
It's February. Hi, this is John Conway with Conway Services. Are you considering replacing your air conditioning system this spring? Conway Services and Carrier have teamed up to make now the perfect time to replace that old energy guzzling system. February is one of our slowest months of the year. Our warehouse is full and our crews are slow. So to spark business during these slow winter months, Conway Services is giving away Carrier 80% gas furnaces absolutely free with the purchase of a standard Carrier air conditioning system. That's right, purchase a Carrier air conditioning system during the month of February and get a gas furnace for free. If that's not enough, we'll include an April air cleaner, 10-year parts warranty, and a free Nest thermostat, plus 12 months interest-free. See why I call it February? And you know with Conway Services, you'll be receiving our award-winning service every time. So call Conway Services, the Mid-South's premier heating, cooling, plumbing, and electric service company today, and the first 30 callers with a 10-year-old heating and air conditioning system will come out and inspect it absolutely free.
Call 384-3511. Conway Services. Call Conway today.
Welcome back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wallo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Wolosian and Brad Norsworthy.
Come on, Muhammad, did we hit Spain? This is for all the biggest crunch time.
You are looking live. In your life have you seen anything like that? Goodbye. Hello, Haskell.
Boop! Get you!
What's happening, big dog? How you doing?
It's obviously crunch time. Hammer, nail, coffin. This baby is over.
On one, on two, on three. Hey!
Time for Taco Bell Crunch Time. Taco Bell, home of the crispy tortilla chips, topped with a double portion of either seasoned beef or shredded chicken, plus refried beans, nacho cheese sauce, reduced fat sour cream, guacamole, and a 3-cheese blend. Nachos Bel Grande, heaping portion of chips, topped with ground beef, tomatoes, beans, nacho cheese sauce, and a dollop of sour cream. Taco Bell, home to great food you get on your way home real fast, and they bring you crunch time every day. Dave, I think you've learned on yet another ride to Dallas that it is boom town. It is boom time down there with all that growth you told us about. Will you see Mike Oresco?
I don't know. I bet you he's still in hiding. I did pass by the Learfield office, though, and the Boeing office, and you see all these major communities. It's crazy. I just learned that Jonas Valanciunas is the leading rebounder in the NBA since the All-Star break. He's averaging 15.5 rebounds, and his streak of 10 or more rebounds in a game is now at 10. It is the longest active streak in the NBA. We can talk all we want about core and when will Jaren come back and the greatness of Ja and is Winslow the real deal? Is he going to ever really be what we think? How about appreciating Jonas Valanciunas? He's the most underappreciated star in Memphis.
Well, remember last week I said I thought he was better than Mark. I know it was heresy. That is a good point about JV, though. He's been solid. I learned the trade deadline looms for the NBA, and will the Grizzlies be active? They were active in acquiring Jonas Valanciunas a few years ago, giving up Marc Gasol. Will they do anything? I don't think they're a player. I know they're not a player or two away or a move away from being a contender, but how about a move now for in 2 years down the road when maybe they're being a contender a little more? Drew, what'd you learn today?
I learned today that Ja Morant will play in his 100th NBA game tonight, and according to Elias Sports, he is already one of 7 players in NBA history with 18 points per game and 7 assists per game through 100 career games, joining Trae Young, Allen Iverson, Isaiah Thomas, Magic Johnson, and Oscar Robinson.
That's a good league to be in. Dave, I know when you lived in Dallas, you could have done without that Metroplex traffic. I bet it's even worse now. What is it you could have done without today?
Well, I could have done without that Taj Washington news, that's for sure.
Yeah,
but I just learned something else. And I don't know if this is our Greg Roberts, but Greg Roberts has come back and he's published a real, not like a 5-star lock, but a real push to bet Memphis against Boise in the NIT tomorrow. I think that's our Greg Roberts bet.
Well, it's been some different roads traveled by our Greg Roberts the last few years. I mean, you think that road was circuitous to Dallas a couple weeks in a row. Greg's had them.
Bumpy.
Dave, thank you for joining us today, and we will talk the Tigers and Boise State with you tomorrow at 5:30 for tomorrow night's big game. Thank you. Have a great night tonight, Dave.
Okay, we're going to try to do that about 3:30 tomorrow, if that is okay with you.
Oh, okay, mighty fine. We'll do that tomorrow at 3:30.
Okay.
Thank you, Dave.
You got it.
Dave Woloshin on the road with the Memphis Tigers in the NIT. Keeping a close eye tonight, Drew, on a lot. The Grizzlies in Oklahoma City against the Thunder. They need this one to get to 1 over 500 because, as we talked about earlier, the schedule gets brutal. Did we get your could have done without today? I'm sorry, Drew.
No, I mean, I can go ahead and do it. I could have done without what we talked about all the way back at the first segment of the day, Major League Baseball and Rob Manfred. I'm not like with the doctoring of the balls. I'm not opposed to the rule to stop doctoring the balls because it kind of is cheating, but also at the same time it's some part of the game. So I don't really know how I feel about it, but I do know how I feel about Rob Manfred and Major League Baseball treating it as that big of a problem. Like that's what's going to solve MLB's woes and everything that's perceived or unperceived wrong with the game in a lot of people's eyes, I don't think the strictness of doctoring the baseballs is what's going to save Major League Baseball.
And I think one of your points is baseball, man, the self-inflicted wounds and the old saying about hanging out dirty laundry, they go and find somebody else's dirty laundry to hang on their laundry line, don't they?
They find everybody else's dirty laundry, and then on their clean laundry, the clean clothes, they just throw dirt on it themselves.
Everybody knows you can't throw the reds in there with the white clothes, or you're going to come out with a pink T-shirt. And boy, baseball would do it every time. You're right. He can stub a toe. Mention the Grizzlies on the road. It's a brutal schedule here. They need to win that one tonight, don't they?
Oh, for sure. And like we said, when talking about this 4-gamer, especially in the big picture, if you want to try to get solidify yourself as one of those playing teams, or even get a little bit higher and out of the playing game, going to need at least the one tonight, the one in Minnesota, and probably got to split against Utah. May need a 3-1 week.
Yeah, and hey, a 3-1 week never hurts, but it would really help tonight. 5.5-point favorite tonight against Oklahoma City Clippers at San Antonio will be fun to watch, and maybe the best game so far this year in the NBA. That's a bold statement, but so far this year, this could be it. 30-14 Brooklyn at 31-11 Utah. Come July, that could be your NBA Finals. Would America want that? Would you like that in July?
I'd take anything. I'll take it. I think Utah is a great team, and obviously, especially for people here in this market, everybody's going to be rooting for Mike Conley.
I think you're right. I think that would be fun. Mark got his. If Mike got his, that would be okay. That'd be okay too. And I don't think a lot of west of the Hudson will really be pulling for Brooklyn with them kind of putting together the super team.
Yeah, nobody's rooting for Brooklyn. Everybody, it will be all aboard the Utah Jazz train for them to get there first.
And Brooklyn having never won one either. Both of them have been in the finals, but that's good tonight coming up in the NBA. So we will talk about that result tomorrow with you. We have had a lot of fun today. I want to thank TJ Reeves for joining us. I want to thank David Cobb, usually on Monday. He was with us today. I'm very sorry we couldn't catch up with Rick Harrell. We'll try to make it up to you next week and catch up with Rick next week. Mike DeCourcy from Indianapolis and Dave from Dallas. I want to thank Skylar Oliver so much. Skylar, great job. I want to thank Dave for chipping in today, and Drew, thank you so very much as well. We will be back with you tomorrow. We got a lot planned. Dave at 3:30. He was right. I had it wrong. We'll move Shelby Mash to a little bit later, and we'll do some reseeding with Shelby, and we'll have Greg Gaston with us, of course, talking the Tigers tomorrow, and Keith Smith talking NBA. So, again, for our whole crew, everybody have a safe night tonight. Enjoy the Grizzlies game. Enjoy the NBA, and we will be back with you tomorrow at 3 o'clock for another edition of Sports Time.
You're scrambling around. You need a haircut. Where you gonna go? I got a place that has 15